Chapter 27. The armored horses galloped on the ground, moving in the direction of Qin Wenyan and the Emperor's Star Academy. Yemo didn't move, his gaze was fixated on Mustang. Since these people represented their own positions, there was no need for him to be polite. Qin Wenyan glanced at his surroundings. The people brought by Yemo were still gathering here, but the Emperor's Star Academy only had 10 plus wuxiu. Not only that, they were all so young. This battle was going to be extremely difficult. Mountain. The seductive lady beside Qin Wenyan called out. Momentarily, a tall and sturdy silhouette dashed out, releasing his astral souls. 2 astral souls appeared above his head. The first astral soul was that of a demonic ape, exuding a terrifying aura of violence, as though it was alive. The second astral soul was that of a stone golem. With such a combination of astral souls, how strong would his defense be? Qin Wenyan's eyes narrowed. The demonic ape astral soul and the stone golem astral soul were definitely a combination of supremely strong defense. Not only that, their attack power would also be extremely strong. Those who had the talent to condense multiple astral souls would have to carefully consider the combination of their astral souls. Earth explosion. The young man known as Mountain ruthlessly punched the ground with both his fists. Momentarily, a terrifying torrent of energy gushed forth, causing the earth to split apart, creating a deep crater as the warhorses neighed. However, there were still warhorses galloping past him, directly dashing towards Mountain. Mountain's legs trembled as he stood upright like a mountain. Long spears whistled through the air, piercing towards Mountain. However, Mountain's hands simultaneously caught hold of the 2 incoming spears. The warhorses directly rammed into him, but the terrifying force of the impact didn't even cause him to budge. Indeed, what a fearsome defense! Qin Wenyan's heart trembled. After which, he saw Mountain lifting up his spear and ruthlessly smashing it into the ground. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere, and the warhorses were so frightened that they ran away on their own. This caused the formation of the Emperor's Star Academy's troops to fall into chaos. In other directions, battles also erupted. Qin Wenyan saw a person with 2 sword-type astral souls, fusing them into one. His entire person radiated a terrifying sword chi, and everywhere he passed by, blood splattered everywhere like rain. They were all cultivators at the arterial circulation realm with dual astral souls. The Emperor's Star Academy wouldn't accept anyone who wasn't a genius. However, Yemo had the advantage in numbers, and there were still some who managed to slip through the net and attack Qin Wenyan's group. However, the woman beside Qin Wenyan merely smiled as she abruptly lashed out with her palm. Qin Wenyan only saw the shadow of a whip flashing past, and a moment later, the silhouette of the warhorse was directly lashed through the air, dying on the ground. That whip was as sharp as a sword, capable of killing with a single strike. Junior brother, you need to leave this place. The woman's arm was hooked around Qin Wenyan's neck, and her smiling face was only 1 step away from Qin Wenyan, causing Qin Wenyan to feel uneasy, and he secretly cursed her for being a vixen. Let's go. Your presence here will affect their battle. Luo Huan continued. Qin Wenyan nodded his head lightly. He knew that with his current strength he could only be considered a burden. Let's go. Qin Wenyan decisively moved in the direction with the least number of people. Elder sister will protect you. Luo Huan followed behind, and the whip in her hand lashed out, instantly opening up a path in front of her. Yu Fei, help me cover my back. The sword-wielding young man leapt into the air, landing behind Luo Huan. A few beams of sword light swept out, directly killing the pursuers. Qin Wenyan madly sprinted away, not even bothering to turn his head back to look at the battlefield. After seeing the strength of those from the Emperor's Star Academy, he felt even more powerless. Regardless of Mountain or Yu Fei, no matter how many body refinement realm cultivators there were, they wouldn't be a match for them. At the very least, only those at the arterial circulation realm would be able to fight against them. Junior brother, where are we going? Luo Huan followed beside Qin Wenyan, leisurely strolling in the park. She didn't even need to use the slightest bit of energy to maintain the same speed as him. Can Senior Mustang and the other senior brothers contend against those people? Qin Wenyan asked. Nope. Among us, other than teacher who is at the Yuanfu realm, the strongest among us is only at the 7th level of arterial circulation. Yi Mo is at the Yuanfu realm, and there are still quite a number of arterial circulation realm cultivators. Not only that, this isn't even their full strength. As long as another Yuanfu realm cultivator appears, the situation would become completely one-sided. And once that happens, those from the Emperor Star Academy would immediately choose to retreat. Although Luo Huan was sprinting, her words were extremely clear. She was very clear on how terrifying a Yuanfu realm cultivator was. As long as another Yuanfu realm cultivator appeared, regardless of how strong their combat prowess was, they would have no choice but to flee. Qin Wenyin lightly nodded his head as he replied, "Many thanks." Evidently, these people appeared in the Sky Harmony City to save him. They were taking a huge risk. Luo Huan giggled as she asked, "Where are we going now?" "The Star River Association," Qin Wendian replied, causing a strange expression to appear on Luo Huan's face. She turned to Qin Wenyin and asked, "Have you joined the Star River Association?" "Nope, I'm acquainted with a Grandmaster Weaponsmith from the Star River Association. He promised me that I can temporarily hide there," Qin Wendian replied. Luo Huan's charming eyes flickered, as though she was contemplating something. After which, she asked, "Can I not go?" Qin Wenyin stared at Luo Huan in bewilderment, before replying, "My family members might have gone there as well. Not only that, with the Sky Harmony City sealed, the Star River Association is the only place we can temporarily hide in." Luo Huan didn't say anything more, and followed Qin Wenyin as they madly sprinted in the direction of the Star River Association. By the time Qin Wendian arrived at the Star River Association, the effects of the acupuncture technique had already dissipated. An unprecedented fatigue invaded his body, causing Qin Wendian to feel like collapsing. But at this moment he couldn't bear to do so. Within the Star River Association, Qin Yi, Qin Yao, and the rest had indeed arrived. However, compared to the time when they broke through the encirclement, only half of their numbers remained. Those who had been sacrificed were all guards. Although the core members of the Qin clan were still present, all of them had injuries all over their bodies. Wendian, Qin Yi and the rest, upon seeing Qin Wendian entering the Star River Association, immediately walked over. "Is there any news of your second uncle?" Qin Yi asked. Qin Wendian's countenance stiffened as he shook his head. Momentarily, the countenances of Qin Yi and Qin Shang turned exceptionally pale. "Seems like my predictions were correct. The Qin clan is indeed going to be destroyed." From the side, an ear-piercing voice drifted over. Momentarily, Qin Wendian shifted his gaze over, as his eyes narrowed. Lin Yu was here today to retrieve the divine weapon. Upon seeing Qin Wendian and the rest in such a sorry state, she couldn't help but mock them. Lifting his feet, Qin Wendian walked towards Lin Yu. His cold gaze was akin to a sharp blade, causing Lin Yu's countenance to stiffen. "Your clan is going to be destroyed, and you want to vent your anger on me?" Qin Wendian spat out a single word, causing Lin Yu's countenance to freeze. "Scram?" This stray dog actually dared to tell her to scram? But at this moment, the pressure that Qin Wendian gave her caused her to feel flustered. Grandmaster Francis. At this moment, Francis was walking over from afar. Lin Yu was instantly filled with joy as she ran over. Even before Lin Yu arrived at Francis's side, Francis coldly spat out, causing Lin Yu's steps to stiffen as her countenance abruptly paled. Francis was currently in an extremely bad mood and didn't have the time to bother with Lin Yu. He directly walked towards Qin Wenyin as he spoke, "Young Master Wenyin, you guys have arrived. Grandmaster Murin is currently in closed-door seclusion and will be out shortly. Everyone, please take a rest in the Great Hall." Francis was extremely polite, causing Lin Yu's countenance to stiffen. Qin Wenyin and the rest nodded their heads as they sat at the side to rest. However, their hearts were incomparably heavy and no one spoke. They didn't know what the current situation of the Qin clan was. "Scram, there's no need to look for me in the future." Francis indifferently spoke to Lin Yu, ignoring the look of humiliation in her eyes. Many from the Star River Association were paying attention to the Qin clan as they sighed in their hearts. The Qin clan that once shook the heavens and earth in the Chu country was now on the verge of collapse, and was in a precarious situation. The members of the Qin clan were also facing a desperate situation. Time flowed by slowly, yet Murin still hadn't come out. Only until the sound of galloping horses could be heard from outside, as a group of riders stopped 100 meters away from the Star River Association. It was none other than Yi Mo's subordinates. Not only that, Yi Mo directly brought his subordinates to the entrance of the Star River Association. Momentarily, the gazes of those from the Qin clan clashed with each other, as a terrifying pressure permeated the air. The sound of galloping horses continued unceasingly, as reinforcements from Yi Mo and his subordinates continued to arrive. Even Wu Xiu and Luo Feng had arrived. Those from the Qin clan all felt a heavy pressure bearing down on them. Everyone, sorry for the long wait. At this moment, a clear voice drifted over. Murin, the president of the Star River Association, as well as that haughty lady, walked over. Qin Wenin, have you considered the matter? Murin smiled as he asked. His countenance was gentle, causing people to feel extremely comfortable. Matter? Qin Wenin was startled. The matter of joining the Star River Association and becoming my disciple. Grandmaster Murin, aren't you a guest elder? A puzzled expression appeared on Qin Wentian's face. No. The president said that the Star River Association no longer needs guest elders. It's better for you to consider joining the Star River Association and becoming his disciple, Murin replied with a smile. Luo Huan, who was standing beside Qin Wenian, narrowed her eyes into slits. At this moment, she roughly understood what was going on. She moved her mouth to Qin Wentian's ear as she whispered, "Do you have something in your hands that he wants? If you become a guest elder of the Star River Association, he won't be able to restrict you in any way. And once you join the Star River Association and become his disciple, you will have to do whatever he says." Qin Wenian wasn't a fool, and neither were the members of the Qin clan. At this moment, when they saw the gentle smile on Murin's face, they felt a chill run down their spines. That smile was akin to that of a venomous snake, causing them to shiver in fear. Evidently, Murin had done this intentionally. He intentionally waited for Yi Mo to bring his men here, causing the Qin clan to fall into a desperate situation before he stepped out. He wanted to give Qin Wenian no choice. What a sinister fellow! Francis cursed in his heart, his eyes filled with rage. He didn't think that he was a good person, but after interacting with Murin for a few days, he felt that he was too naive. The reason why he was in a bad mood was because the second-level profound inscription Qin Wenin had given him had been borrowed by Murin. Today, when he wanted to ask for it back, he was humiliated by Murin instead. Chapter 28. Qin Wentian's eyes were fixated on Murin, staring at that cold smile on her face as he asked, "What if I don't agree?" "It's best if you agree." Murin didn't reply. The one who spoke was the female beside him. Her gaze was filled with arrogance as she stared at Qin Wenin and the rest. Grandmaster Murin is a second-level Grandmaster Weaponsmith, and is not far from the third level. Given the status of your Qin clan, this is a gift to you, a glory to you. Do you understand? Qin Wenin, this is giving you a chance. The branch leader of the Star River Association also spoke. At this moment, Qin Wenin could clearly feel the arrogance of the three in front of him. That was a bone-deep arrogance. They didn't even put him or the Qin clan in their eyes. If it weren't for the fact that he had perfect second-level profound inscriptions, these people wouldn't even bother to lower their heads to look at him. To Murin, as long as he said the word no, he would immediately be pushed into a bottomless abyss. Since that's the case, why did you send us to the Star River Association in the first place? Qin Ye's voice was ice-cold, filled with rage. If he hadn't promised Qin Wenian, the people of the Qin clan wouldn't have placed their hopes on the Star River Association. Murin indifferently glanced at Qin Yi as he calmly replied, "Even if Qin Wenian agrees, you will not receive the protection of the Star River Association." Despicable! I don't need your protection. Qin Yi roared. His fists were like the roar of a tiger as he charged towards Mu Qin. Murin's eyes flashed with sharpness. With a flick of his finger, Qin Yi only felt a terrifying flaming lion pouncing towards him. With a rumbling sound, Qin Yi was flung through the air. This is the Star River Association. I don't want to kill you, but there won't be a next time. Murin's countenance was as calm as ever. The disparity between Yuan Fu and arterial circulation was too great. Even though Qin Yi was at the 8th level of arterial circulation, he couldn't even withstand a single strike from Murin. The people of the Qin clan all had expressions of anger on their faces. However, they couldn't afford to antagonize the Star River Association. Have you thought it through? Murin stared at Qin Wenyan. As long as Qin Wenyan nodded his head, not only would he be able to live, he would even be able to join the Star River Association. From his perspective, as long as one wasn't a fool, they would know what to do. Qin Wenyan turned around and looked at Qin Yao and the others. Wenyan, there are no cowards in the Qin clan. Qin Yao coldly stated. There are no cowards in the Qin clan. Everyone spoke in unison. Even if they were to die, they wouldn't suffer such humiliation. If I don't die from today's humiliation, I will remember it. Qin Wenyan glanced at Murin before turning and walking out of the Star River Association. If it wasn't for Murin guiding them to the Star River Association, they wouldn't have fallen into such a state of despair. All the people of the Qin's mansion left with Qin Wenyan, glaring at Mu Qing angrily. Clear a path, let them out. Don't disturb our Star River Association. Mu Qing narrowed her eyes and said to Yimo and the others plainly, Let's go, Yimo and the others. Yimo and the rest retreated, opening up a path. Now, the fate of these people was in his hands. Qin Wenyan and the rest followed the stairs leading to the Star River Association, stepping into the spacious public square outside. All directions were sealed, and there was no way for them to escape. On the way here, you told me not to come here. Could it be that you've already guessed something? Qin Wenyan whispered to Luo Huan, who was beside him. The Star River Association is different from the other powers. They stand alone and don't interfere with the affairs of the outside world, yet they possess a terrifying amount of power. The majority of the people in the Star River Association prioritize benefits over anything else. Hence, I was worried that what you could offer to the Star River Association wouldn't be as much as what the Yi clan offered. However, it seems like I was wrong. Luo Huan's calm voice caused Qin Wenyan to feel a deep chill. In that case, I'm afraid that the Star River Association had already made contact with the Yi clan before this. Qin Wenyan drew in a deep breath as he clenched his fists. Murin only walked out after the Yi clan had arrived, asking him if he would agree. If he agreed, he would be completely under Murin's control. If he didn't agree, Murin would personally send them into a desperate situation. What a sinister method. Qin Wenyan glanced back. At this moment, Murin and the woman beside him were standing on the stairs. Their gazes were filled with disdain and contempt, as though they were mocking his stupidity. The members of the Star River Corps stepped forward, pointing their long spears at Qin Wenyan and the rest, as their killing intent permeated the air. Those on the left and right also stepped forward. In the direction of the Star River Association, Yi Mo and Wu Xiu, two Yuan Fu cultivators, stood guard. The heavens want to annihilate my Qin clan. Qin Yi roared, his voice filled with unwillingness. In such a desperate situation, they would definitely die. The members of the Qin clan all had expressions of despair on their faces. From afar, countless people gazed over as they sighed in their hearts. Would the Qin clan be completely erased from existence from today onwards? Luo Huan inclined her head and stared at the skies. Over there, a black eagle was circling in the air. If the Qin clan was unable to escape today, the Emperor Star Academy would have no choice but to bring Qin Wenyan away. Qin Wenyan clutched tightly onto the star-shaped object given to him by Uncle Black, as the remnant astral energy within his body permeated into it. At the same time, Yimo waved his hands, as though a massacre was about to begin. The terrifying killing intent emanating from Yimo caused the members of the Qin clan to have a resolute look on their faces. Right now, they could only fight with their lives on the line. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's body suddenly burst into brilliant light. Arg. A bizarre scene caused the spectators to be stunned. Very swiftly, Qin Wentian's body was being devoured. It was as though the spectators could see a demonic beast taking form, wanting to engulf Qin Wenyan. Wenyan let go. When Qin Yi saw the star-shaped object in Qin Wentian's hand, he couldn't help but roar. But at this moment, Qin Wenyan only felt that his body was filled with endless power. How could he let it go? In just an instant, Qin Wentian's entire body was completely submerged. What appeared in front of the crowd was an incomparably gigantic demonic ape, filled with a wild and savage aura. Qin Wenyan seemed to be faintly discernible within the body of the demonic ape. Heavy, yet filled with power. This was what Qin Wenyan felt at this moment. He could feel the terrifying power contained within his gigantic body. However, he, who was already an arrow at the end of its flight, found it hard to withstand such a burden. But he could only grit his teeth and persevere. Qin Wenyan took a step forward with great difficulty. From the perspective of the spectators, it seemed that the terrifying demonic ape had taken a step forward, causing the ground to tremble. This caused the surrounding people to be dumbfounded. The members of the Qin clan were also dumbfounded. This sudden change caused them to be at a loss as to what was going on. The gigantic demonic ape abruptly sprinted forward. Its gigantic paws directly slammed downwards, causing the people below to shriek as they frantically fled for their lives. A thunderous rumbling sound rang out as the ground shattered. Fresh blood spurted out from the depths of the gigantic paws. The people below were slapped to death as a deep crater appeared on the ground. The strength of this paw was as terrifying as the weight of Mount Tai. The demonic ape stretched out its hands, and an astral heavenly hammer appeared in its hands. With a ferocious swing, blood and flesh splattered in all directions. In an instant, 4 to 5 people were directly smashed into meat paste. Such a powerful and bloody scene caused the hearts of the people surrounding the Qin clan to palpitate. The gigantic body of the demonic ape danced in the air as it executed a set of hammering techniques, the tempered thousand hammers. Qin Wenyan didn't have much strength left to support such a heavy burden. Only by using the tempered thousand hammers would he be able to continuously break through his own limits and wipe out the people in front of him. Wherever the demonic ape passed, no one could survive. The people brought by Yi Mo started to panic as they frantically fled for their lives. Even arterial circulation realm cultivators couldn't withstand a single strike from the demonic ape. It was as if the demonic ape was a primordial beast, killing everything in its path. From afar, when Mustang and the members of the Emperor Star Academy rushed over, they couldn't help but be stunned when they saw the silhouette of Qin Wenyan within the body of the demonic ape. Could this be the astral soul summoned by the astral soul? Mustang's heart pounded violently. How could this be possible? Qin Wenyan was only at the body refinement realm, and he only had a single astral soul. Where did this demonic ape come from? And according to Mustang's knowledge, in the entire Chu country, there wasn't a single person who could condense an astral soul to summon an astral soul. This was beyond his comprehension. Kill! At this moment, Qin Yi roared, causing the members of the Qin clan to awaken from their stupor. After which, they began to attack the people surrounding them. He won't be able to sustain this burden for long. Mustang dashed out like a hurricane, as the members of the Emperor Star Academy also joined the fray. The demonic ape swept through everything in its path, dashing towards Yi Mo and Wuxiu Luo, causing the pupils of both of their eyes to narrow as they released their astral souls. Bringing with it a boundless amount of strength, the heavenly hammer swept towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo gathered all of his strength, and like an eagle he pounced forth. His palms blasted out, transforming into a mountain peak that smashed downwards, capable of destroying everything in its path. Boom! The mountain peak crumbled, as Yi Mo's body was directly smashed into the Star River Association. He's even stronger than Yi Mo, who's at the Yuanfu realm. The expressions of the crowd trembled. The demonic ape howled as it dashed towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo's back was covered with a pair of eagle wings, as he soared through the air. However, the demonic ape stomped its foot on the ground, causing the ground to crumble. The Star River Association trembled violently as the demonic ape's body spun in the air, bringing forth a whirlwind. Boundless energy was gathered within the heavenly hammer as it smashed out explosively. Boom! Yemo's body was directly smashed into the ground, his countenance pale. At the same time, the body of the demonic ape also fell to the ground, half kneeling as though it had no way to stand up. Die! A human voice rang out from the mouth of the demonic ape. That was the voice of Qin Wenyin. The crowd only saw the demonic ape standing up and walking towards Yemo, its huge eyes flashing with a violent killing intent. Yemo stared at the gigantic silhouette in front of him, as his countenance lost all color. He spoke, "Qin Wenyin, if you dare to kill me, Qin Wu and Qin Chuan will both die." Rumble! Even before the sound of his voice faded, the heavenly hammer smashed down, transforming into astral light and vanishing. Yemo's body was already a mess of blood and flesh. The demonic ape silently walked towards the exit of the Star River Association. The battle abruptly stopped, as the gazes of everyone focused on the demonic ape. An enraged roar rang out, scaring Wu Xiu and Luo Takong into fleeing. Their countenances were extremely unsightly, and when the others saw Yemo's death and Wu Xiu and Luo Takong's escape, how could they still be in the mood to continue fighting? Qin Yi and the rest wanted to chase after them, only to see Qin Wenyin, who had exhausted the last strand of energy within the demonic ape's body, collapsing onto the ground. Wenyin! Qin Yao exclaimed in shock, as she dashed towards Qin Wenyin. At this moment, the demonic ape turned and stared at Qin Wenyin on the ground. Its eyes flickered, and under the astonished gaze of Qin Yao, the gigantic demonic ape actually squatted down and carried the fainted Qin Wenyin in its arms. A grin appeared on its face, as traces of gentleness could be seen in its demonic eyes. Chapter 29. Qin Yao's hand, which was stretched out towards Qin Wenyin, froze in place. Seeing the demonic ape hugging Qin Wenyin, she felt as though everything was unreal. This demonic beast didn't seem to be a real one. If not, it would be impossible for Qin Wenyin to appear within its body. However, the emotions in its eyes were so real. The demonic ape howled, before turning around and sprinting away. Its feet stomped on the ground, causing a thunderous sound to echo out. Its body soared up into the skies, and when it landed again, it was already 100 meters away, causing the earth to shatter. That gigantic body didn't pause for even a moment, as it soared up into the skies once more. Very quickly, its silhouette transformed into a blurry shadow, leaving behind only the rumbling sounds of its body reverberating throughout Sky Harmony City. How is this possible? How can a summoned beast appear beside Qin Wenyin? If this isn't a summoned beast, then what is it? Murin's experience was extraordinary, but at this moment, he still couldn't tell what kind of existence the demonic ape was. Qin Yao's silhouette dashed in the direction of the demonic ape, but she was held back by Qin Yi. Now that the Yi clan had been forced into retreat, the Sky Harmony City was still filled with their forces. It was too dangerous for Qin Yao to chase after Qin Wenyin. However, for the time being, the danger here could be considered resolved. Qin Yi turned his gaze towards Murin as he coldly stated, "My Qin clan will definitely remember your actions today." Murin indifferently swept a glance at Qin Yi, as though he didn't care at all. Disdain could be seen in his eyes as he replied, "Your luck isn't bad. If you want to find me, come to the Star River Association in the royal capital." As he spoke, Murin and his group entered the Star River Association, completely disregarding the Qin clan. In the eyes of the arrogant Grandmaster Weaponsmith, the Qin clan was merely a clan that was about to fall. Qin Yi led the members of the Qin clan and departed together with those from the Emperor's Star Academy. The spectators from afar were still in a dumbfounded state. Very swiftly, the news of Qin Wenyin transforming into a terrifying demonic ape and slaying Yi Mo, who was at the Yuanfu realm, was spread throughout the entire Sky Harmony City. Qin Wenyin became a hot topic of discussion among countless people. And on the same day, another shocking event occurred. From the northwest direction of Chu, a troop of armored cavalry entered Sky Harmony City, breaking through the blockade of Sky Harmony City as they headed straight for the Qin residence. It was said that this troop belonged to the army stationed in the northwest region of Chu. The general of this troop was once a war general under Qin Wu, and after receiving the news that the Yi clan had led their troops into Sky Harmony City, they rushed over through the night. The situation in Sky Harmony City changed in the blink of an eye. The Qin residence was reorganized, and Wu Xiu and Luo Luo were forced to evacuate. The Bai clan also gave the order to relocate to the capital of Chu. In the Bai clan, Bai Qingsong seemed to have aged several times. Ever since the awakening of Autumn Snow's astral soul, he had been in high spirits. Who would have thought that Qin Wenyin would appear out of nowhere, causing the Bai clan to suffer continuous setbacks? Not only that, his youngest daughter was also disobedient. "I won't go with you." Bai Qing calmly looked at her father. However, at this moment, she was no longer as lively and adorable as before. She was much colder than before. These few days, she had been under house arrest. "Impudent, where is your filial piety?" Bai Qingsong raged. "Filial piety? Father, do you still remember that you taught me about filial piety? You also taught me about benevolence and righteousness. But what have you done? Hypocritical, despicable, repaying kindness with enmity. You harmed the Qin clan, and even caused the death of Wenyan Gij." Bai Qing's eyes were slightly moist. She hated her father. Why was everything in the past a facade? Her father was a hypocrite. A young girl had always viewed her father as her idol, and had always believed in his kindness. Yet now, she personally witnessed her father betraying his own beliefs. Such an impact was extremely cruel to a 15-year-old girl. "Wenyan Gij? I'm your father. Benevolence and righteousness are all based on benefits. Everything I've done is for the sake of the Bai clan, for the sake of you sisters." Bai Qingsong's gaze turned cold. "Why can't you be more like your sister? Be like my sister, disguising herself? She even deceived me. I didn't expect her heart to be so ruthless, and Wenyan Gij treated her so well." Bai Qing coldly laughed. "Unreasonable. Seems like I've raised you for nothing. No wonder your sister's talent is so outstanding, yet you can't even cultivate." Bai Qingsong was extremely disappointed. "Talent, is it this?" Bai Qing coldly laughed. Abruptly, a resplendent astral light blossomed in the darkness, causing Bai Qingsong to be stunned. Astral soul. An astral soul floated above Bai Qing's head. This astral soul was in the form of an astral shadow, with a faint crimson gold glow surrounding it. A crimson gold astral soul originated from the fourth heavenly layer. Boom. Bai Qingsong only felt his mind violently trembling, causing him to be dumbfounded. The fourth heavenly layer, Bai Qing's first astral soul, originated from the fourth heavenly layer. This caused Bai Qingsong to be dumbstruck. The astral soul slowly entered Bai Qing's body, and in an instant, Bai Qing's entire person seemed to have transformed into a specter, exuding a cold aura, causing Bai Qingsong to involuntarily shiver. "Good, as expected of my daughter. But since you have such talent, why did you choose such a cold and gloomy astral soul?" Bai Qingsong's body was still trembling. "It's not that I can't cultivate, it's just that Wenyan Gij taught me not to cultivate the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth in order to better sense the constellations in the heavenly layer. Wenyan Gij also taught me the art of meditation, which is why I'm able to sense the astral souls from the third heavenly layer like my sister. But because of my disappointment in you, I chose to continue climbing upwards. I'm not afraid of death. Even if I die, I will still continue to climb upwards. My consciousness is filled with negative emotions, and when I broke through to the fourth heavenly layer, I already lost my consciousness. Wenyan Gij might not be related to me by blood, but he is kind and strong. He taught me how to be optimistic and positive, and his smile is always so clean. You are indeed my father, but you taught me hypocrisy, betrayal, heartlessness, and cold-bloodedness. What qualifications do you have to be a father? You are not worthy." After speaking, Bai Qing turned and walked away, leaving Bai Qingsong standing there in a daze. There was only one sentence left in his mind: "You are not worthy." Closing his eyes, the hidden regret in the depths of Bai Qingsong's heart resurfaced. He was thinking about what would have happened if he hadn't betrayed this marriage. Both of his daughters had outstanding talent, especially Bai Qing, who had broken through to the fourth heavenly layer. This was a miracle in the Chu country, but now, she no longer recognized him as her father. 3 days later, in a forested area to the west of Sky Harmony City, a snowy white dog was running in circles on the ground. Beside it was the silhouette of a handsome youth. The intelligent eyes of the snowy dog flickered as it sprinted away. After a few moments, it returned with 2 young girls following behind it. "Little fellow, why did you bring me here?" One of the girls was clad in white. She was as beautiful as a fairy, as though she was above the common populace. She ran behind the snowy dog, and very quickly her beautiful eyes froze. There was actually someone in front of her. The snowy dog squatted beside the youth lying on the ground, its adorable eyes staring at the girl clad in white. "Ching-Ching, this little bastard. We chased him all the way from the royal capital to here, but to no avail. And now, because of a dead person, he actually took the initiative to look for us." The green-robed girl glared at the snowy dog, feeling extremely unhappy. "This little fellow has been playing with us all along. He obviously could have shaken us off, but he purposely followed us. How hateful." Ching-Ching shook her head as she smiled bitterly. After which, she walked to the side of the youth and examined his injuries. He has only fainted due to his heavy injuries. His spirit, chi, and spirit are all exhausted. After which, Ching-Ching retrieved a medicinal pill from her robes and fed it to the youth. The moment the medicinal pill entered the mouth of the youth, it automatically flowed into his body. "Are you crazy? That's a second-level high-grade medicinal pill." The green-robed girl was dumbfounded. The grade of this medicinal pill was the same as a divine weapon, a second-level high-grade medicinal pill. Even those at the arterial circulation realm would go crazy over it. "Who asked us to meet him?" "Nolan, there's a grass hut not far away from here. Let's rest there," Ching-Ching said to the green-robed girl as she carried the youth on her back. "Crazy, he's really crazy." Nolan shook her head. If people in the royal capital knew that Ching-Ching was carrying a man on her back, how big of a commotion would it cause? What's even more hateful was that when they were walking, the hands of that man were resting on Ching-Ching's chest, and would occasionally touch her breasts, causing Ching-Ching's face to turn red. "What are you looking at?" The green-robed girl glared at the snowy dog as she whispered, "That brat got lucky. Nolan, in any case, he doesn't know anything now. Also, this little fellow is extremely intelligent. Since he asked us to save him, this can be considered fate." Ching-Ching bitterly smiled. She had never imagined that she would be so intimate with a man. If the 10 prodigies of the royal capital were to find out about this, I'm afraid that even if he grew a few more heads, it wouldn't be enough for him to die. Nolan shook her head. She was very clear about the statuses of those who pursued the white-robed girl, but Ching-Ching had never bothered with them. The 2 girls arrived at the grass hut. This grass hut was located in a clearing in the forest, and there was even a river beside it. It was an extremely tranquil place. Nolan was currently lighting a fire, and when she saw Ching-Ching and the snowy dog walking over with some medicinal herbs in their hands, she couldn't help but exclaim in shock, "Can this little rascal really find some spiritual herbs?" The snowy dog quickly ran over to Nolan and sat down with its head held high. Its eyes were filled with provocation, causing Nolan to roll her eyes. "Arrogant bastard." Nolan cursed in a low voice, but she was secretly amazed. Ching-Ching walked over and smiled. "I already said that he has a spiritual connection, but I don't know what demonic beast he is. Yet, he refused to follow me, causing us to chase him all the way here. Let me brew the medicinal herbs." Ching-Ching walked over to Nolan's side, as Nolan stepped aside. The snowy dog hopped onto Qin Wentian's back, and lay down beside Qin Wenin. Only after Ching-Ching had finished brewing the medicinal herbs and fed them to Qin Wenin did he move away, and quietly watched on from the side. Nolan cast a deep glance at Qin Wenin, feeling somewhat bewildered. How could this fellow be so lucky to have the #1 beauty of Chu personally carry him back and feed him medicine? Chapter 30. Under the care of Ching-Ching, Qin Wentian's complexion gradually regained some color, but he was still unconscious. The snowy puppy would occasionally lie beside Qin Wentian, and occasionally leap into Ching-Ching's embrace, causing her to smile unceasingly. This little fellow was too adorable. Nolan, what demonic beast do you think it is? Mo Ching asked. Who knows, maybe it's just an ordinary wild beast that doesn't know how to cultivate. Nolan replied. How can there be such an intelligent wild beast? But this little fellow is too small. Mo Ching smiled radiantly, causing Nolan to be a little dazed. You seem to be in a good mood these few days. I've never seen you smile in front of others before. In any case, there are no outsiders around. Mo Ching shrugged. What about him? Nolan pointed to the unconscious Qin Wenyan. He was even hugged by you before. Mo Ching couldn't help but blush as she rolled her eyes at Nolan. After which, she shifted her gaze to Qin Wenyan. He seems to be quite good-looking. Yi Wuke is also very handsome, but didn't you also ignore him? I heard that Yi Wuke has already gone to Sky Harmony City to get engaged to a girl. He probably knows that there's no hope for him to pursue you. Nolan's lips twitched. Oh yes, Sky Harmony City is just beside us. The Yi clan should have finished dealing with the Qin clan. Mo Ching sighed. She sighed for the sake of the Qin clan. Someone's coming. At this moment, Mo Ching spoke. He should be waking up soon. We should leave. After which, Mo Ching walked out of the grass hut and spoke to the snowy puppy in her embrace. Little fellow, are you willing to come with me? The snowy puppy stared at her, rubbing its head against her face before jumping out of her embrace. It returned to the grass hut and squatted there, staring at her. Fine, I won't force you. Since you like him, just stay by his side. Mo Ching helplessly spoke, before leaving with Nolan. The snowy puppy stared at her departing back, as though it was reluctant to part with her. As Mo Ching and Nolan entered the forest, a group of 3 youths, 2 males and 1 female, walked over. What a cute little fellow. The girl ran towards the snowy puppy, but the snowy puppy didn't seem to be interested in her. It turned around and went back into the thatched hut. Brother, there's someone here. He seems to be unconscious. The girl approached the straw hut and saw that Qin Wenyan was unconscious, so she took off her water bottle and fed Qin Wenyan a mouthful of water. The Sky Harmony City is just in front of us. Let's rest for a day before continuing on our journey. Don't be a busybody. The young man was covered in dust. In order to rush to the royal capital, a few of their horses had died from exhaustion. They were prepared to purchase a few good horses after entering the Sky Harmony City. Got it. The young girl stuck out her tongue, looking very pretty. Ahem. At this moment, Qin Wenyan coughed twice. After which, he opened his eyes, only to see a beautiful face that exuded the aura of youth. You're awake. Lu Yen couldn't help but reveal a gentle smile when she saw that Qin Wenyan had woken up. Qin Wenyan sat up. He discovered that other than the fact that he didn't have much strength left in his body, everything else was fine. He even felt that he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. However, there wasn't the slightest bit of astral energy within his body. The battle that day had been too taxing for him. Controlling the demonic ape's body had almost cost him his life. No wonder Uncle Black told me not to use it unless I was in a life or death situation. Qin Wenyan silently mused. However, this could be considered a blessing in disguise. He had broken through his limits and taken another step forward. What he didn't know was that the reason he could step into the 8th level of the body refinement realm was partly due to the fact that he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. If not, with the current state of his body, it would take at least a month or 2 for him to recover. Thank you for saving me. Qin Wenyan thanked the girl. Obviously, he had mistaken her for someone else. Don't mention it. Is this puppy yours? It's so adorable. The young lady laughed. Only now did Qin Wenyan discover that a furry puppy with fur as white as snow had appeared beside him. Seeing that Lu Yen wanted to hug it, the puppy immediately leapt into Qin Wenyan's embrace. Lu Yen, let's hurry. Another young man outside urged. Okay. Lu Yen replied. After which, she turned to Qin Wenyan and said, This puppy is so smart. No wonder it has been waiting for you. Since you're awake, I'll take my leave first. My name is Lu Yen. See you again if there's a chance. After which, she flashed a sweet smile at Qin Wenyan, before turning and walking out. My name is Qin Wenyan. Standing up, Qin Wenyan carried the puppy and walked out. Lu Yen waved her hands at him in a carefree and unrestrained manner, before slowly walking away. Qin Wenyan noticed the charred wood of the thatched hut, as well as the broken pots. There seemed to be a lingering smell of medicine within. "Many thanks," Qin Wenyan muttered in a low voice as he gazed at the departing Lu Yen. Not far away in the forest, two pairs of eyes were still staring at him. These two were none other than Mo Qingqing and Nolan. Okay, now that we've confirmed his safety, it seems that he mistook the person who saved him for someone else. Do you want to go out and explain things to him? Nolan smiled as she looked at Mo Qingqing. Let's go. Mo Qingqing smiled as she turned and left. In the quiet thatched hut, only Qin Wenyan and the snowy puppy remained. Qin Wenyan curiously stared at the puppy in his arms. The fur on this puppy's body was extremely soft and plump. Its beautiful eyes seemed to have intelligence, as it inclined its head and stared back at him. "You've been waiting for me?" Qin Wenyan felt a little strange. The eyes of the snowy puppy narrowed into slits, as though it was smiling at him, causing Qin Wenyan to be startled. Could it be that this puppy could understand his words? "It's time for me to cultivate, you should return home," Qin Wenyan said to the snowy puppy in his arms. However, the snowy puppy continued to rub itself against his chest. "Fine, if you don't wish to leave, just follow me for the time being." Qin Wenyan bitterly smiled as he sat down cross-legged. Placing the snowy puppy on the ground, he began his cultivation. He wanted to know what the current situation in Sky Harmony City was like, but he needed to first recover his strength before he could protect himself. Astral light cascaded down from the fifth heavenly layer, cascading onto Qin Wenyan's body. The human body was a vessel, capable of storing astral energy. The higher one's cultivation level, the larger the vessel's capacity would be. At the body refinement realm, the astral energy would be stored within the four limbs and bones, and then used to temper the body, increasing one's strength. When one stepped into the arterial circulation realm, the astral energy would be stored within the body's acupoints, allowing one to unleash an immense amount of power during battle. When night fell, Qin Wenyan only felt a sense of comfort throughout his body. It was even more comfortable than before he was injured. His entire body was brimming with energy. Other than the improvement in his cultivation level, it was also because of the medicinal pills Mo Qingqing had consumed. Of course, Qin Wenyan didn't know that he had consumed a second-level high-grade medicinal pill. Standing up, Qin Wenyan surveyed his surroundings. This place seemed to be the forest outside the western gate of Sky Harmony City. When he was young, he had followed Qin Chuan and the rest to hunt in the depths of the forest, so he naturally recognized this place. After washing his body in the water, Qin Wenyan left the forest. The snowy puppy actually followed behind him, causing Qin Wenyan to sigh in amazement. Although it was nighttime, the entire Sky Harmony City was brightly lit. Lanterns were hung everywhere, and the ancient city was still brimming with life. No matter what happened in Sky Harmony City, the lives of ordinary people wouldn't change. They still loved to gather with their friends at tea houses and restaurants, discussing ancient and modern matters, discussing the heroes of the world, and drinking to their heart's content. As Qin Wenyan passed by an open-air wine shop, he halted his steps. Voices drifted out from the wine shop, as the people inside were discussing the matters he wanted to know. The Qin residence is truly pitiful. Old Master Qin Wu and Clan Lord Qin Chuan were captured and sent to the royal capital. There's news that they've already been sent to the heavenly prison and could be beheaded at any time. Even if they aren't beheaded, they would still be sentenced to death in the hands of the Yi clan. That might not be the case. The Northwest Division is stationed outside of Sky Harmony City, and it's said that they'll be moving out tonight, rushing towards the royal capital. According to reliable sources, not only the Northwest Division, but 3 out of the 8 divisions stationed at the borders of Great Chu have also moved out. The border is empty, and everyone is in a state of panic. How dare they be so audacious? Someone exclaimed. Audacious? Their ancestors all had connections with the Wu King, and now that His Majesty has even made a move against the son of the Wu King, who knows when the blame would fall on them. However, these people are smart and have always maintained their alliance, unlike the Qin clan who willingly gave up their military power to come to Sky Harmony City. Instead, they're stationed at the borders of Great Chu. His Majesty also knows of the situation at the borders, and thus didn't act blindly without thinking. If not, the consequences would be extremely dire. This time around, the three divisions are moving towards the royal capital, under the banner of purging the emperor's subordinates. They spread the word that His Majesty was bewitched by the Yi clan and wanted to kill a loyal subject. As long as the three divisions exist, the lives of Qin Wu and Qin Chuan will still be spared. If they were defeated, His Majesty would no longer have any misgivings, and would directly issue the order to behead them. Who would have thought that after the Wu king swept through the lands, the Chu country would be in such turmoil? The defeat of the three divisions is only a matter of time, and I'm afraid that they won't be able to last for another 3 years. And after the Wu king, a genius like Qin Wenyin appeared in the Qin clan. However, within 3 years, it would be extremely difficult for Qin Wenyin to rise again. Speaking of Qin Wenyin, he's indeed a rare talent. If it weren't for you summoning the demonic ape to kill Yi Mo, the direct line of descent of the Qin clan would have been completely destroyed, and we wouldn't even be able to wait for the reinforcements from the northwest regions to arrive. However, the second son of the Qin clan, Qin He, is also very charismatic. Although he lost a leg in the incident in the Sky Harmony City, he still managed to take over the Qin clan, as well as the position of the commander of the northwest regions. At the same time, he expelled Qin Wendian from the Qin clan. Indeed, he expelled Qin Wendian from the Qin clan, removing his relationship with the Qin clan. This way, Qin Wendian would no longer have any connection to the rebel army, and Qin Wendian would still be able to enter the Emperor's Star Academy in the royal capital to cultivate. With the power of the Emperor's Star Academy, they would be able to guarantee Qin Wendian's safety. This is a game of attrition, and I wonder if Qin Wendian would be able to rise again before the three divisions fall. The Qin clan has high hopes for Qin Wendian. After all, this is the world of cultivation, and only those who can roam the world unhindered would be able to control the fate of the world. If one has enough strength, the Emperor's authority is nothing. My words are law, and with a single wave of my anger, I'll cause rivers of blood to flow. This is ultimately the world of cultivation. These people were so excited from drinking that they forgot everything else. Although they were ordinary people, they were still fantasizing about becoming experts of the martial path, looking down on the world with disdain, controlling the fate of the people. Qin Wenyin, who was at the side, couldn't help but feel an indescribable feeling in his heart when he heard these words. Chapter 31. Qin Wu and Qin Chuan were escorted to the imperial city. Qin He's leg was broken, and the three armies were preparing to march to the imperial city. Qin Wendian understood that this was to put pressure on the royal family. Only in this way, the royal family would not dare to immediately sentence Qin Wu and Qin Chuan to death. As for why the Qin clan had expelled him from the clan, Qin Wendian was very clear. This was a covert attempt to protect him. Perhaps, after his disappearance, Senior Mustang had communicated with the Qin clan. In the world of martial arts, the strong have supreme authority. One day, if I can reach the clouds, I will definitely trample the imperial power under my feet. Qin Wendian drew in a deep breath, as a blazing flame ignited in his heart. His first astral soul originated from the fifth heavenly layer. His second and third astral souls would also be able to do the same. As long as he was given enough time, so what if he was the emperor? With the help of the knight, Qin Wenyin arrived at the Qin's mansion. From a distance, he found that there were several figures outside the gate of the Qin's mansion. They were all leading horses and carrying luggage. It seemed that they were ready for a long journey. Xiao. When Qin Wenyin saw them mounting their horses, they immediately galloped over. Before long, Qin Yao and the others arrived at Qin Wentian's side. Seeing Qin Wenyin, Qin Yao was stunned. Wenyin. Joy appeared on Qin Yao's face as she dismounted her warhorse and rushed to Qin Wentian's side. Sis, Qin Shang, Qin Ji, where are you going? Qin Wentian asked. Wenyin, grandfather and father were brought to the royal capital. The Qin clan had no choice but to send their troops to the royal capital. If they were defeated, only death awaits them. Second uncle has decided to send us to the Snowcloud country to cultivate. Qin Yao explained. Immediately, Qin Wendian understood. This battle had been forced upon them, and the result was already set in stone. Qin Yao's group leaving was the best choice. We rushed here in the middle of the night because we were afraid of being targeted by others. The younger generation of the Qin clan will leave in batches. Wendian, when you arrive at the Emperor Star Academy, you must focus on your cultivation. Don't bother yourself with the matters of the war. Qin Yao's eyes reddened as she spoke. I know, and so do all of you. Qin Wendian nodded heavily. It was almost impossible for the flames of war to burn the imperial city. Qin He and the others knew that it was impossible, but they still did it. Oh yeah, Uncle Black has disappeared, and we can't find him. Second and third uncle are also outside the city. There's no need for you to go to the Qin residence, just head straight to the Emperor Star Academy. Qin Yao stated. Uncle Black has gone missing? A strange expression appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He still wanted to ask what was going on with the demonic ape. Also, Uncle Black was extremely knowledgeable and was definitely an extraordinary character. However, Uncle Black had never told him about his birth before. After witnessing the might of the demonic ape, as well as the tiny astral being left behind by his dead old fogey father, Qin Wendian wanted to know more about his birth parents. Qin Yao, let's get moving earlier. Don't let the Yi clan target us. Qin Shang walked over as he stared at Qin Wendian. Wendian, in the Qin clan, your talent is the best. In the future, your achievements will be the highest. You must work hard to become an expert that can influence an entire country. Big brother, you too. I will definitely make the Yi clan pay the debt of blood for the sake of second uncle. Qin Wendian solemnly nodded his head. Qin Shang's father, Qin He, had lost a leg because of him. And now, for the sake of the Qin clan, Qin He had to lead an army to the south. When we arrive at the royal capital, be careful. Qin Shang heavily patted Qin Wendian on his shoulders. Wendian, we will be leaving first. Qin Yao's eyes reddened, as though she was very reluctant to part. She walked to the side of Qin Wendian and spread out her arms. Qin Wendian smiled, as he hugged Qin Yao and patted her on the back. Sister, don't worry. Father will be fine. Second uncle and the rest are working hard in the army, and I will also work hard in the Emperor Star Academy. As for you, when you arrive at Snowcloud, you have to be careful. Qin Yao didn't want to let go even after a long time. Only after Qin Shang and Qin Ji mounted their warhorses did Qin Yao reluctantly part with Qin Wendian. At this moment, traces of tears could already be seen on her face. Her tears turned into a smile as she stared at Qin Wendian. Smelly brat, the next time we meet, you must become a true iron-blooded man, able to protect me, your sister. After speaking, Qin Yao turned, and with a single step, she leaped onto her warhorse. Qin Yao shouted, and the warhorse galloped madly. She didn't even turn her head back to look at Qin Wendian, and left like the wind. Qin Shang and Qin Ji followed behind, and the silhouettes of the three of them gradually disappeared into the distance. Qin Wendian clenched his fists tightly as he cast a glance in the direction of the Qin residence. His heart was filled with an incomparably strong conviction. Become stronger, I must become stronger. Shouldn't you be on your way as well? At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wendian turned, only to see a silhouette walking in his direction. His eyes involuntarily narrowed. I guessed that you would return. I've already been waiting for you for a few days. Francis led 2 horses over. Qin Wendian snorted as a cold light flickered in his eyes. The arrogant image of Murin from the Star River Association had left a deep impression on him. I know you hate the Star River Association, but all of this has nothing to do with me. Murin didn't manage to control you, so he directly returned to the royal capital. I believe that even if Yi Mo died, the benefits promised to him by the Yi clan wouldn't be small. Murin took away all the divine inscriptions you gave me, not a single one was left behind. Francis's voice was filled with coldness. What does this have to do with me? Qin Wendian asked. I wish to acknowledge you as my master. Francis's words caused Qin Wendian to be stunned. This arrogant weaponsmith Francis wanted to acknowledge him as his master? I know you doubt my character. Over 10 years ago, when I became a stellar martial cultivator, my talent wasn't high enough and my perception was weak. At that time, there was a weaponsmith who told me that I could improve my perception by comprehending divine inscriptions. Hence, I followed him and became his apprentice for a total of 10 years. However, he only bestowed me with the simplest of divine inscriptions. Francis was still enraged as he recalled the events of the past. 10 years, I wasted an entire 10 years of my time, but I still managed to enter the Star River Association just by relying on the simplest of divine inscriptions. I worked hard unceasingly, obtaining new divine inscriptions, and finally had some achievements today. As long as I could comprehend second-level divine inscriptions, I would have a chance to become a second-level weaponsmith. Alas, all my hopes were destroyed by Murin. The second-level divine inscriptions Qin Wendian had given him, he initially wanted to slowly comprehend them. But now, they were all snatched away by Murin. I, Francis, am not a good person. But since I've received rewards, I will definitely forge divine weapons for others. Even if the quality of the weapons are inferior, I will still have a bottom line. But Murin doesn't have a bottom line. But so what? If I don't have any good fortune, I can only look up to him for the rest of my life. Even if I hate him, so what? Qin Wendian could feel the despair in Francis's heart. Everyone had their own story. Francis's path had been extremely difficult, yet Murin had easily snatched away his hope. So what? Qin Wendian calmly replied. Naturally, he wouldn't let his heart overflow with sympathy. Qin Wendian, your talent is extremely shocking. You can easily comprehend second-level divine inscriptions that others are unable to comprehend. If you were to use this to forge weapons, you would be able to obtain an astronomical amount of rewards. However, I believe that you would rather spend more of your time on the path of cultivation. As for the other matters, I can help you take care of them. I don't want any of the resources you obtain, I will use them all to pave the way for you. Qin Wendian's heart stirred. He naturally understood that a weaponsmith would be able to obtain an astronomical amount of rewards easily. But if one wanted to forge weapons, it wasn't enough just to comprehend divine inscriptions. One would need to spend a large amount of time to gather the required materials. In the future, he definitely wouldn't spend too much time on this. Francis's words had obviously moved him. Although Francis had his own motives in this world, who would help others for no reason. You are a weaponsmith, yet you want to take me as your master? Don't you feel that this is beneath your status? Qin Wendian continued. The only thing he could give Francis was divine inscriptions. You should know that it's easy to add flowers to a brocade, but it's hard to send charcoal in snowy weather. How can I, Francis, be so short-sighted? Although you are currently facing many difficulties, as long as you can endure them, in the future, I'm afraid that I won't even have the qualifications to carry your shoes. At that time, would you still be interested in me, a mere Francis? To me, taking you as my master is an extremely honorable thing. Also, I really want to witness the rise of a genius with my own eyes. I want to see you ruthlessly trample that bastard Mu Qing under your feet. When you look down on him, I want to see if he can still hold his head high and look at us with arrogant and contemptuous eyes. Francis's eyes were still burning with rage. Only by borrowing the strength of Qin Wendian would he be able to trample Murin under his feet. He had placed all his hopes and dreams on Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian stared at Francis, before shifting his gaze onto the steeds behind him. Is one of those steeds prepared for me? Of course. Francis replied, as he stared at Qin Wendian with some nervousness. Qin Wendian stepped forward, as he mounted one of the steeds. At the same time, a snow-white silhouette, akin to a mirage, instantly leapt onto the back of the steed. This fellow, what an incredible speed! Qin Wendian glanced at the snowy puppy, before squeezing his thighs together, causing the steed to gallop forward. Master, wait for me. Francis broke into a smile as he witnessed this scene. His silhouette flickered as he leapt onto another steed and chased after Qin Wendian. With a trembling smile, he stated, Master, Do you think you should first give your disciple some gifts for becoming my disciple? For example, some second or third level divine inscriptions. Qin Wenyan stared at the shameless smile on Francis's face. Rolling his eyes, he scolded, "Scram." After speaking, the steed beneath Qin Wenyan's feet increased in speed as he madly galloped away, preparing to rush through the night towards the royal capital. Murin, you son of a bitch. Just you wait. Francis laughed loudly as he continued to chase after Qin Wenyan. Not too long later, the two of them dashed out of the Sky Harmony City, galloping on the main road. Under the starry sky, dust and sand were kicked up into the air. Qin Wenyan turned his head back and cast a glance at the towering city walls, as an incomparably resolute look could be seen in his eyes. This was the first time Qin Wenyan had ventured into a faraway place. As the wind blew past, the past was buried under the dust and sand. He had arrived in the iron-blooded world of the martial Tao, filled with gratitude and grudges. Chapter 32. The royal capital of the Chu country was incomparably vast, spanning tens of thousands of miles. It was the largest city in the Chu country and had the highest population, 10 times that of Sky Harmony City. At this moment, at the foot of the royal capital, the travel-worn Qin Wenyan sat atop his horse. Lifting his head, he stared at the towering city walls, as his heart trembled. This city wall was 15 feet tall, and was constructed from special materials. Even a cultivator at the peak of the body refinement realm would not be able to move it. "Master, we've arrived. Let's enter the city." Francis spoke in a low voice. Qin Wenyan lightly nodded his head, as the two of them dismounted and walked towards the direction of the city gates, queuing up to enter the royal capital. Within the royal capital, the bluestone pavement was tens of meters wide, and the roars of demonic beasts could be heard. So many experts, and many of their mounts are actually demonic beasts. Qin Wenyan drew in a deep breath, as waves of emotions surged in his heart. Not far away from him, there was a gigantic demonic beast. It was an azure ape, and on its shoulders stood a young man, exuding an awe-inspiring aura. This azure ape was a 4th-grade demonic beast, comparable to a cultivator at the arterial circulation realm. Demonic beasts were divided into 9 grades. 1st-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the lower 3 levels of the body refinement realm. 2nd-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the middle 3 levels of the body refinement realm. 3rd-grade demonic beasts, comparable to the upper 3 levels of the body refinement realm. Based on this, a 9th-grade demonic beast was already comparable to a cultivator at the peak of Yuanfu. After the 9th grade, demonic beasts could transform and shed their demonic forms. "Junior brother." At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wenyan turned his gaze over, only to see 2 silhouettes walking towards him from the side of the road. It was actually Luo Huan and Mountain from the Emperor Star Academy. A smile appeared on Qin Wenyan's face as he asked, "Why are you guys here?" "Isn't it because of you, junior brother?" Luo Huan walked over and held onto Qin Wenyan's arm as her voluptuous body came into contact with Qin Wenyan's, causing a bitter smile to appear on Qin Wenyan's face. This senior sister of his was really, the Yi clan would often keep an eye on this place. Teacher naturally has to be more cautious. Elder sister has suffered a few days of hardship because of you. Luo Huan's voice was like an orchid, and her eyes were like silk. "Many thanks, senior sister." Qin Wenyan's heart was filled with gratitude. Teacher Mustang was very considerate. He was afraid that the Yi clan would plot against him. "Little guy, you still know how to be shy. I won't tease you anymore." Seeing the awkward look on Qin Wenyan's face, Luo Huan let go of her hand. After which, her gaze landed on the snowy puppy on Qin Wenyan's shoulder. "What a beautiful little fellow. Come over to big sister." The eyes of the snowy puppy narrowed as it leaped into the embrace of Luo Huan. What caused everyone to be dumbfounded was that the snowy puppy's paws were placed on Luo Huan's chest, as though it was scratching something. A beautiful ravine could be faintly seen, causing black lines to appear on Qin Wenyan's face. Why did he feel as though he had taken in a perverted dog? Luo Huan also froze for a moment, before she started giggling. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wenyan, causing Qin Wendian to perspire in shame. You seem to understand your master's thoughts very well, but you're even more daring than him. Luo Huan hugged the snowy puppy as she spoke. Black lines appeared on Qin Wendian's forehead, and at this moment, Luo Huan blew a whistle, causing the sound of an eagle to resound through the air. After which, a black eagle swooped down, landing in front of Luo Huan. Junior brother Qin, my name is Mountain. Luo Huan is always like this, you'll get used to it. Let's go up. Mountain seemed to be much more simple and honest, as he grinned at Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian nodded his head, thinking that he had to maintain his composure in order to be together with Luo Huan. The temptation was simply too great. The royal capital is very vast. If we don't fly, I don't know how long we'll have to walk. Let's go up, and I'll introduce you to the royal capital. Mountain laughed, appearing very easygoing. However, Qin Wendian had personally witnessed Mountain summoning his demonic ape astral soul and stone golem astral soul. His combat prowess was extremely tyrannical, and his defense was extremely terrifying. Qin Wendian abandoned their horses, and the four of them mounted the Black Eagle. The Black Eagle let out a shrill cry as it soared into the skies, flying forward. Instantly, a gust of astral wind blew past, causing their robes to flutter. Junior brother Qin, although the royal capital is vast, the distribution of population is very orderly. The area we're currently in is known as the slums district. In other words, it's a place for those who don't have any power or influence, as well as those who temporarily come to the royal capital. This area is the largest, and the population is also the densest. It occupies half of the entire royal capital, with a population of tens of millions. Mountain's words caused Qin Wendian to be inwardly shocked. Looking down from the skies, he could see a bustling scene below. There were towering buildings, streams of people coming and going, and demonic beasts that could be used as mounts were extremely common. Even Sky Harmony City couldn't be compared to such a bustling place. The royal capital can be divided into 7 main districts. The Slums district is the first district, the Chaotic district is the second district, the 9 great academies as well as countless clans are the third district, the Star River Association, Divine Weapon Pavilion as well as other major clans are the fourth district, the nobility and aristocrats are the fifth district, the Royal Palace is the sixth district, and the Dark Forest is the seventh district. Mountain first roughly explained the layout of the royal capital before explaining in detail. So it turned out that outside of the royal capital was the Dark Forest. Half of the royal capital was enveloped by this forest of demonic beasts. In other words, the Royal Palace, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the Star River Association, the Divine Weapon Pavilion, and the 9 great academies were all surrounded by the same dangerous dark forest. They viewed this dangerous dark forest as a place to temper themselves. The royal capital was extremely vast, and there were countless clans of varying sizes. And the 9 academies were located in the heart of the royal capital. The speed of the Black Eagles was extremely terrifying, and only after 4 hours did they stop and hover in the air. Yeah, roar. The howls and howls of the demonic beasts continued unceasingly. Qin Wendian couldn't help but narrow his eyes as he stared at the horde of demonic beasts hovering in the air, as well as the mounts of the demonic beasts below. What is this place? Qin Wendian's heart trembled. Below him, there were many paths that led to a gigantic arched door. The other side of the arched door was extremely spacious, and although there were many people here, there were no demonic beasts hovering in the air. We've already passed the first and second district. In front of us is the district of the 9 academies. After we pass through that door, we will reach the core of the royal capital. On the other side of that door, ordinary people are not allowed to fly. Only Yuanfu realm cultivators have the privilege to do so. And behind that arched door is our destination, the location where the various academies conduct their recruitment tests. Come, let's descend. As the sound of Luo Huan's voice faded, the Black Eagle swooped down, landing on the ground. The endless stream of people were all heading towards the arched door. The start of spring is also the recruitment period for the academies. Many of the young talents of the Chu country would choose to come here, How could there not be many people? Qin Wendian silently mused. In the Sky Harmony City, weren't there also countless people who yearned to enroll in the royal capital? Junior brother Qin, there's no need for you to undergo the recruitment test. You can directly go to the examiner to receive your Emperor's Star Jade Medallion, and after that, you can enter the academy. This Emperor's Star Jade Medallion is something that only our Emperor's Star Academy possesses and is extremely important. Only the examiners are allowed to bring it with them every year, hence, Teacher Mustang didn't give it to you. Mountain spoke to Qin Wendian as they walked. Qin Wendian lightly nodded his head. At this moment, a crowd of people squeezed past. What's going on? Mountain furrowed his brows as he turned his head, only to see the crowd rapidly parting to two sides. Behind them, there were dragon horses pulling the sedan, as countless people tiptoed in the direction of the crowd. It's that lass, no wonder it's so lively. Luo Huan lightly smiled as the sedan slowly moved forward. Through the veil, one could faintly see the silhouettes of two graceful figures within. Swish! The snowy puppy in Luo Huan's arms instantly dashed out, dashing straight towards the sedan, causing Qin Wendian to be stunned. Inside the sedan, Mo Qingcheng also froze when she saw a snow-white silhouette leaping into her embrace. After which, she exclaimed in surprise, "Little rascal, why are you here?" Nolan, who was beside her, rolled her eyes. This little rascal is really like a haunting spirit that won't go away. Mo Qingcheng rolled her eyes at Nolan, as a light smile appeared on her face. Stretching out her hands, she pulled open the curtains, causing the gazes of many to freeze. How beautiful! So this is the #1 beauty in the Chu country. She's too beautiful. If I could share a bed with her, I would be willing to die the next day. What a beautiful woman. Qin Wendian had seen many beauties before. Qin Yao and Autumn Snow were all beauties of the Sky Harmony City, but when compared to this young lady in front of him, they all seemed to pale in comparison. Mo Qingcheng also saw Qin Wendian, and after which, she gently smiled at Qin Wendian, before pulling the curtains closed. She smiled at me. A person beside Qin Wendian had a dumbfounded expression on his face. She seemed to be smiling at me. Hearing the words of the people around him, Qin Wendian blinked his eyes. Could it be that he had the same feeling as the people around him? Earlier, he felt that the young lady had smiled at him. Is she beautiful? A voice rang out. Qin Wendian replied in a very natural manner. After which, his countenance stiffened, as he turned his head and smiled bitterly at Luo Huan. Senior sister is as beautiful as her. However, Luo Huan didn't fall for this, as she giggled and stared at him. Based on senior sister's charm, she's definitely more attractive compared to her, Qin Wendian replied, his voice trembling. What a sweet mouth. Luo Huan smiled, but that lass is definitely a calamitous beauty. No wonder you were dazed for a moment. If I were a man, I would also fall for the #1 beauty of Chu. Mountain, who was at the side, scratched his head in agreement. But that's just wishful thinking. Among the 10 prodigies of the royal capital, there were quite a few who wanted to get their hands on her, but none of them were able to gain her favor. Seems like you still have some self-awareness? Luo Huan giggled, and at this moment, the snowy puppy transformed into a blur as it leapt into her embrace. What a lecherous dog! Luo Huan glared at little rascal, only to see it snuggling deeper into her embrace, looking at her with a pair of aggrieved eyes, causing one's heart to melt. In the sedan, Nolan asked Mo Qingcheng, is it really him? Yes, I didn't expect him to come to the royal capital, and that little fellow followed him. Mo Qingcheng nodded her head. I wonder why he came to the royal capitals. Our great beauty Mo is showing concern for someone? Nolan giggled as she looked at Mo Qingcheng. No way. Mo Qingcheng glared at Nolan. That's right. After all, our great beauty Mo saved the life of someone else, and you even had intimate contact with him. It's only normal for you to show concern for him. Sadly, that fellow doesn't even know you. Nolan continued with a smile. Mo Qingcheng bitterly shook her head. She was merely curious. Chapter 33. After Mo Qingcheng left, Qin Wenyan and the rest followed the stream of people as they walked towards the gigantic arched gate. After passing through the gate, countless youths could be seen in the vast area. The atmosphere was extremely lively, and the majority of them were around 15 to 16 years of age, exuding a youthful aura. Today is the registration deadline for the various academies, so there are many people. Mountain spoke. Qin Wenyan also discovered that in this vast area, there were 9 groups of people queuing up to register and participate in the initial examination. Look, in the center of the area, there are many people from our Emperor Star Academy. Mountain pointed to an area in front of them. Many people were nervously queuing up there, and there were also many who left in disappointment. Evidently, they had failed the initial examination and were disqualified. Why is he the one who came today? At this moment, Mountain furrowed his brows as he stared at the examination elder of the Emperor Star Academy. Qin Wenyan looked at Mountain with a puzzled expression. Mountain explained, "This examination elder is named Janus. Our Emperor Star Academy has a transcendent status in the Chu country, but some of the elders of the academy have different views on how the Emperor Star Academy should handle matters. Teacher Mustang advocates to be aloof from worldly affairs and not interact with the royal clan or the rich and powerful. As for this Janus, he has the opposite opinion and is closer to the rich and powerful. Also, the reason why the Emperor Star Academy wasn't domineering enough in the past was because of this group of people." Qin Wenyan's countenance stiffened as he understood. If the Emperor Star Academy had been domineering back then, Mustang wouldn't have been the only one to bring people to the Sky Harmony City to protect him. "Let's go. Since the person is already here, what can he do?" Luo Huan's beautiful eyes narrowed as she felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be the one who came today. The few of them walked forward, and very quickly, they arrived at the entrance of the Emperor Star Academy. At this moment, there was a long queue at the recruitment area of the Emperor Star Academy. As the most prestigious academy in the Chu country, the number of people who wished to enroll in the Emperor Star Academy was undoubtedly the highest. Even people from the neighboring countries would cross the border to enroll. The Emperor Star Academy's recruitment policy didn't have any restrictions, it only depended on one's talent. However, the elimination rate of the Emperor Star Academy was also the highest. When the youths in the queue saw Ruowan's hot figure, they couldn't help but let their imagination run wild. After all, they were at the age where they were full of vigor and vitality. Just as Luo Huan and Qin Wenyan were about to reach the front, a white-robed figure blocked their path. This person had a pair of sword-like eyebrows and was extremely handsome. He looked to be around 18 years of age and exuded an aura of sharpness. Junior brother Qin, this person's name is Orkun. His cultivation base is at the 8th level of the arterial circulation realm, and he has been cultivating in the Emperor Star Academy for 2 years. He's extremely strong, so you have to be careful of him. Mountain silently reminded. "Senior brother O." Luo Huan walked towards Orkun as she smiled. "I'm here to collect my Emperor Star Jade Medallion from Elder Jiang." Orkun calmly glanced at Luo Huan, before shifting his gaze onto Qin Wenyan. His gaze was as sharp as a spear, piercing into Qin Wenyan's eyes as he coldly stated, "Line up." Orkun has already passed Teacher Mustang's test in the Sky Harmony City. Luo Huan's countenance turned cold. Orkun's countenance was as calm as ever. He stared at Luo Huan as he coldly stated, "So what of it?" "Mph." Luo Huan coldly snorted, before shifting her gaze onto Janus. "Elder Janus, Luo Huan is here to collect the Emperor's Star Jade Medallion under the orders of my teacher." Janus acted as though he hadn't heard her words. He continued staring ahead as he stated, "Line up." "Teacher Janus, Teacher Mustang has already passed the test." Luo Huan's countenance turned unsightly when she saw that Janus didn't even spare her a glance. Was he using his position to avenge a personal grudge? Back in the academy, she had always been on the opposing side of Orkun, as well as Janus and Mustang. Janus shifted his gaze onto Luo Huan and Qin Wenyan, his countenance as cold as Orkun's. "He did pass Mustang's test, but he didn't pass mine. We've already discussed this with the 9 academies. Today will be the last day of the test, and for those who pass the initial test, they will participate in a joint operation of the 9 academies. All of them will be sent into the dark forest to hunt demonic beasts, and only those who survive will be able to join the 9 academies. So, it's the same for him as well. Even if I approve of Mustang's test, if he wants to obtain the Emperor Star Jade Medallion, he must first come out alive. How long is the duration of the test? Luo Huan coldly asked. 1 month. Janice replied. If you don't wish to participate, you can choose to give up and scram back to Sky Harmony City. At this moment, a youth appeared beside Orkan, as he swept his cold gaze over to Qin Wenyin. At this moment, Qin Wenyin felt many gazes landing on him. His perception had always been very strong, and as he turned his head, he discovered that from the direction of the Royal Academy, there were a few gazes directed at him. Among them, there was a person dressed in green, and was extremely beautiful. Her gaze was filled with a faint coldness as she stared at him. Astonishingly, it was Autumn Snow. The Bai clan had already moved to the royal capital, and Autumn Snow had arrived at the Royal Academy. She would also be participating in the 9 academies' joint training. Junior brother Qin, they want to deal with you. Mountain spoke to Qin Wenyin. Earlier, I warned you to be careful of Orkan because his relationship with Yi Wuke is quite good. Qin Wenyan's heart was as clear as a mirror. He didn't expect that the moment he stepped into the royal capital, there would be someone who had already cast a net for him, ready to swallow him whole. Of course, the majority of the people from the 9 academies didn't know that the reason for the joint training, other than to temper the new students, was because of Qin Wenyin. The majority of them didn't know who Qin Wenyin was. They only knew that this was the final round of the test, and there would be danger to their lives. Not long ago, the 9 academies had informed everyone that if they were worried about the danger, they could give up. Luo Huan stared at Janice as she asked, "How is the fairness of the test this time?" The martial house of the 9 academies will join hands, and all the participants will enter the dark forest. In addition, each martial house will send 2 elders and 4 old students to oversee the dark forest. What do you want to question? Janice said coldly. Who are the elders and students of my Emperor Star Academy? Luo Huan asked again. Me and Mustang. The students are naturally the old students under me and him. Mustang is already aware of this matter, and he has already agreed to it. Janice coldly laughed. Luo Huan nodded her head as she turned her gaze to Qin Wenyin, only to see Qin Wenyin smiling as he replied, I will participate in the training this time. At the instant he agreed, Qin Wenyin could clearly see the lips of the youth beside Orkan curling up in a cold smile. Let's go to the side and rest. Luo Huan led Qin Wenyin and the rest away. Junior brother Qin, there will most likely be people who will deal with you during this test. You have to be careful. Not only that, the dark forest is already filled with demonic beasts, and it's extremely dangerous. Mountain spoke to Qin Wenyin. I will respect Teacher Mustang's decision. As for the other students, as well as the demonic beasts, I will deal with them carefully. Qin Wenyin replied. Since you said this, I'm sure you already know what to do. However, junior brother, you must not underestimate these students, especially those from the noble clans of the Emperor Star Academy and the Royal Academy. Although they are still young, some of them possess extraordinary talent. Luo Huan reminded, let's wait for the training to begin. Qin Wenyin nodded his head in agreement, as his gaze inadvertently drifted towards the direction of Autumn Snow. Over there, Autumn Snow was surrounded by many youths, as though she was the moon surrounded by the stars. Other than her own talent, it was also because of Yi Wuke. Master, why don't I find a place to stay in the royal capital first? Francis suggested to Qin Wenyin. Fine, do as you wish. Qin Wenyin had no objections. I will wait for Master to come out. Francis smiled as he departed. He believed that Qin Wenyin would be able to overcome this crisis. He was still waiting for Qin Wenyin to become a powerful Grandmaster weaponsmith, standing in front of Murin. The examinations of the 9 great academies were in full swing, but it had nothing to do with Qin Wenyin. He was currently chatting with Luo Huan and Mountain. Far away from this vast public square, a gigantic demonic beast hovered in the air. This demonic beast had the form of a lion, but it had a pair of wings. It was a terrifying 8th-level griffin, and standing on top of it were two silhouettes. One was Mustang, and the other was an old man. Master, Janice agreed to the proposal of the Royal Academy. Why didn't you stop him? Mustang looked at the old man with a puzzled expression. Mustang, do you hold this young man in high regard? The old man smiled. I won't hide it from Master. I really like this young man. If not, I wouldn't have invited you to personally participate in the tempering exercise in the dark forest. Since you like him so much, why don't you let him go? The old man smiled as he stared at the vast testing grounds. There are some good seedlings in this batch of students, and their overall standards are all very high. I'm filled with anticipation for the upcoming tempering exercise. Mustang smiled bitterly as he silently mused in his heart, Little fellow, I wish you good luck. Grandpa, you were looking for me? At this moment, a white demonic crane soared into the skies, and on its back, the number 1 beauty of Chu, Mo Ching, could be seen. This time around, follow Mustang into the dark forest. Don't always stay at home. The old man laughed as he turned and departed. Mustang, this griffin will follow you. Take good care of Ching. Mustang froze. He didn't know what his master meant by this. Shifting his gaze, he nodded his head lightly at Mo Ching, feeling a sense of awe in his heart. His master's granddaughter, Mo Ching, was someone he had rarely seen before. This was a woman that could cause the aristocrats of Chu to go crazy, yet his master actually allowed her to follow him into the dark forest. Chapter 34. As the sun set in the west, the number of people in this vast region gradually lessened. The initial examination had ended, and the 9 martial academies had stopped their recruitment. Many people left in disappointment, while those who stayed behind gradually moved towards the direction of the Emperor Star Academy and the Royal Academy. At this moment, a white-robed figure with a long sword strapped to his back walked towards Qin Wenyin and the rest. Qin Wenyin had seen this young man before. He was none other than the sword-type astral soul cultivator back in the Sky Harmony City. Luo Huan, Mountain, teacher wants you guys to go over. Yu Fei walked over as he called out to Luo Huan and the rest. Did teacher say which 2 of us are to enter the dark forest? Luo Huan asked. According to Janice and Mustang could each bring 2 veteran students with them. You and the other person. Teacher didn't say who it was, Yu Fei replied. We'll know when we get there. Luo Huan nodded, and the group of them walked towards the direction of the gathering crowd. Out of the 9 martial academies, there were a total of 5,000 people who had the qualifications to participate in the dark forest. This was an extremely terrifying number, but if one thought about the number of people who had registered, they would understand that this ratio was already 1 out of 100. The 9 martial academies of the royal capital were the gathering place for the elites of Chu. If you want to become strong, you have to face all sorts of dangers head-on. This will be your first lesson, so enjoy it. At this moment, in the direction of the Royal Academy, a person shouted to the crowd. The countenances of the youths were all solemn. They were clear that without the experience of blood, one couldn't be considered a true cultivator. Bzz. Not far away in the sky, a raging wind gusted as 2 demonic beasts flew over. Upon seeing the silhouette on the back of one of the demonic beasts, the gazes of the crowd froze. How beautiful, it's Mo Ching. She actually came. In this region, cultivators below Yuanfu were not allowed to ride on demonic beasts, but Mo Ching could. Nobody doubted her. Janice and Orkan were taken aback when they saw Mo Ching and Mustang together. However, they soon turned to the crowd and spoke, since we're all here, let's move out. Everyone, run at full speed, we have to enter the dark forest before sunset. Junior brother, take care of yourself. Luo Huan smiled at Qin Wenyin as she walked forward to lead the group. That lecherous snowy puppy actually remained in her embrace, not moving an inch. Junior brother Qin, I'll wait for you at the academy. Mountain patted Qin Wenyin on his shoulders. The representatives of the various academies all lined up in their battle formations and set off. Numerous demonic beasts soared into the skies, with the teachers standing on top of them, while the students sprinted on the ground towards them. The dark forest enveloped half of the imperial city. It was obviously impossible for them to advance forward. Wouldn't that mean that they would have to pass through the imperial palace? The Emperor Star Academy had the least number of people, with only 500, while the Royal Academy had over 800. When they sprinted with all their might, the earth trembled, as though there were tens of thousands of horses galloping at full speed. Everywhere they passed, a strong gust of wind would kick up. Many passers-by had smiles on their faces as they stared at these youthful silhouettes. These people would be the future pillars of Chu. Hey! In the camp of the Emperor Star Academy, a smiling fatty stood beside Qin Wenyan as he called out to him. Although their speed was extremely fast, to those who had already stepped onto the martial path, it didn't require too much energy. Hence, they were able to chat casually. "What's your name?" the fat youth asked. "Qin Wenyan, what about you?" "Fan Lu." Fan as in ordinary, Lu as in happy. The fat youth laughed. Qin Wenyan cast a glance at him. He was wearing an ordinary robe, with messy hair and a smile on his face. "This name really suits you." Qin Wenyan laughed. Fan Lu grinned, as he shifted his gaze onto the young lady on top of the flying crane. He whispered, "This is the #1 beauty of Chu. She's so beautiful, causing my little heart to palpitate wildly." Qin Wenyan involuntarily rolled his eyes upon seeing the intoxicated look on Fan Li's face. However, he had to admit that Mo Qingqing was indeed beautiful. "However, senior sister Luo Huan is more suitable to my taste. That figure, that ample bosom, Fan Lu had a wretched expression on his face. "You're acquainted with senior sister Luo Huan?" Qin Wenyan asked. "How could I possibly be acquainted with her? I've only heard about her from others. Who doesn't know of the #1 demoness of our Emperor Star Academy?" Fan Lu laughed as he turned his head to look at Qin Wenyan. "You look so serious, but in your heart, are you also?" Looking at the wretched expression on Fan Li's face, Qin Wenyan rolled his eyes as he cursed in a low voice, "Scram! This fellow was definitely a genius." "Don't pretend, Fan Lu revealed a you-know-what's expression, causing Qin Wenyan to be speechless. However, the royal capital of Chu is indeed filled with geniuses and beauties. Over there, autumn snow from the Royal Academy is extremely beautiful. It's said that she has already condensed an astral soul from the third heavenly layer." Fan Lu pointed to the group of people from the Royal Academy, as he spoke to Qin Wenyan. "And our Emperor Star Academy is also filled with geniuses. Look at that gigolo at the front, his name is Orphan. He's extremely strong, at the second level of arterial circulation, and has 2 astral souls." Fan Lu then pointed to a youth at the front. It was none other than the youth standing beside Orphan earlier. It seemed like they were brothers. "And look over there, that beautiful girl dressed in black. She's at the first level of arterial circulation and has 2 astral souls. Her figure isn't bad either, just that some parts of her body are slightly imperfect." Fan Lu mused. "However, do you know who the #1 genius of our Emperor Star Academy is this year?" "Who?" Qin Wenyan curiously asked. "Right in front of you." The flesh on Fan Li's face crumpled together, and his smile was as shameless as it could get. "Fan Lu, you're bragging to others again." A person ran over, smiling as he glanced at Fan Lu. Evidently, this person had bragged in front of Qin Wenyan before. Qin Wenyan laughed. Although this Fan Lu loved to brag, he was also humorous, causing others to feel that he was interesting. As the sun set, 9 gigantic groups of people crossed the eastern heavenly gate of the royal capital. The royal capital was surrounded by the dark forest. In the 3,000 years of history of the Chu country, there had been many demonic beasts from the dark forest. Hence, the city gates of the dark forest were so tall that they pierced through the heavens, resembling a heavenly moat. After crossing the eastern heavenly gate, there was another city that connected the royal capital to the dark forest. As a buffer zone, there were many adventurers and cultivators in this city. When they saw the people from the 9 camps rushing through the city like a hurricane, they were all dumbfounded. Could it be that these are the students from the 9 martial academies? They are indeed full of vigor. So many handsome guys and pretty girls, The passing adventurers laughed as they discussed. Continue forward, you guys will set up camp in the dark forest. In the air, a clear voice drifted over, causing the hearts of the people to shiver. For a month's worth of training, they would have to spend many nights in the dark forest. Not only that, they had to be self-sufficient and hunt for food. Night gradually descended, and at this moment, the people from the 9 camps finally arrived at the boundary of the dark forest. In front of them, ancient trees stretched as far as the eye could see, with no end in sight. A wild and demonic aura permeated the air. When everyone came to a halt, the atmosphere abruptly became exceptionally quiet. Everyone could sense that they were about to face a true crisis. In front of the dark forest, the experts from the 9 martial academies stood on the backs of demonic beasts as they spoke to the participants. You guys will enter the dark forest now. Before dawn tomorrow, you must enter the dark forest for a distance of 10 miles. This 10-mile area will be considered the outer perimeter of the dark forest. In the following month, if anyone is discovered moving around in the outer perimeter, they will be disqualified. Now enter. The 10-mile area was considered the outer perimeter of the dark forest. Humans would frequently roam about, and there weren't any powerful demonic beasts around. Qin Wendian, let's go together. Fan Lu spoke. Qin Wendian nodded his head. After which, the people from the 9 camps all stepped into the dark forest. The huge formation of 5,000 people started to spread out in all 4 directions, forming groups of 2 or 3 as they advanced. With the aid of the weak astral light, Qin Wendian and Fan Lu advanced through the dark forest. Some of those who were proficient in fire-type innate attribute techniques directly ignited flames, illuminating their surroundings. There were also some who used treasures like night pearls to illuminate their surroundings. Let's first enter 8 to 9 miles deep, then find a spacious place to rest for the night. We'll continue to advance the next morning. This way, we won't be breaking the rules. Fan Lu spoke in a low voice. Along the way, Qin Wendian and Fan Lu also used rocks to ignite flames, as they raised their torches and advanced. There seems to be someone staring at us. As they advanced, Fan Lu spoke in a low voice. Qin Wendian's heart trembled. He had also sensed it. His perception had always been extremely sharp. In the Sky Harmony City, he had killed Yi Mo and Yi Lang. Not only that, he had also displayed extraordinary talent. Evidently, the Yi clan wouldn't let him off so easily. This time around, there was a reason why Qin Wendian wanted to participate in this training exercise. At the same time, it could also temper the disciples of the various martial academies. There were only benefits to this. Hence, none of the martial academies would reject such a suggestion. Chapter 35. Before Qin Wendian stepped into the dark forest, he already knew that there would be people trying to assassinate him. But since Mustang didn't object, it must be because he wanted to temper him. My current cultivation base is at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, with a strength of over 100 bulls. Ordinary cultivators at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm would be able to deal with me. However, if it was someone at the arterial circulation realm who had condensed a powerful astral soul, it would be extremely difficult to deal with them. Qin Wendian silently speculated as he whispered to Fan Lu, "Fan Lu, I have an enemy. Why don't we go our separate ways?" Fan Lu turned his gaze over, borrowing the dim light from the fire to look at Qin Wendian's face. His eyes flashed with a strange light as he laughed. "I, Fan Lu, am the #1 genius of this batch. How can I abandon my comrades?" "Don't worry, although we've entered the dark forest, they wouldn't dare to make a move within a 10-mile radius. Now that the students have yet to disperse, it wouldn't be good if news of this were to spread out." Fan Lu smiled as he continued, "Let's go, there's light in front of us." Qin Wendian was a straightforward person. Although Fan Lu was a little shameless, his character wasn't bad. In front of them, on a slope, there were several people who had set up simple tents. "Qin Wendian." A surprised voice drifted over. Qin Wendian cast his gaze towards the entrance of a tent, and a smile appeared on his face. He had actually met someone he knew. "Luyan, why are you here?" Qin Wendian walked forward. He thought that Lu Yen was the one who saved his life previously. I'm participating in the examination for the Divine Wind Academy. Quickly extinguish the fire and come inside the tent. The light from the fire will attract demonic beasts. Lu Yen smiled. Other than Lu Yen, there were two other youths in the tent. One was her brother, Lu Yu, and the other was her friend, Shuo Fan. Lu Yen, why did you invite strangers in? Lu Yu frowned. Shuo Fan also had an unhappy expression on his face. Brother, this is Qin Wenyin whom we met at the outskirts of Sky Harmony City. Lu Yen replied. After which, she looked at Qin Wenyin and asked, "Oh right, why are you here in the dark forest? Are you also participating in the examination?" We will participate in the examination of the Emperor's Star Academy. Straightening his robes, Fan Lu walked forward and extended his hand. How do you do? My name is Fan Lu, the future star of the Emperor's Star Academy. Emperor's Star Academy. Lu Yan's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as she stretched out her hand to shake Fan Li's. Lu Yan, you are so beautiful and talented. How rare, Fan Lu commented. Lu Yan smiled. She wanted to retract her hand, but Fan Lu didn't seem to have any intentions of letting go. Did you guys build this tent? You guys must have experience in the wilderness. Is Qin Wenyin your friend? He and I are good brothers, so we are also friends. Qin Wenyin stared dumbfoundedly at Fan Li's unrelenting grip. This fellow was truly one of a kind. Lu Yan blushed and finally pulled her hand back. She glanced at Qin Wenyin. I don't know him. Qin Wenyin was sweating profusely. He had lost too much face. The two of you, since we met, we are friends. Although this tent is a little simpler, why don't you two rest here for a night? Tomorrow, we will set off together in the morning. It would be safer that way. Lu Yu walked over, smiling at Qin Wenyin and Fan Lu. Yes, I shall accept your invitation. Fan Lu straightforwardly agreed, while Qin Wenyin stood at the side speechlessly. Lu Yan, Fan Lu, I'm going out for a walk. You guys chat. Qin Wenyin laughed as he walked out of the tent. This little brat. Fan Lu glared at Qin Wenyin before turning to Lu Yan. Lu Yan, see you later? After which, he followed behind Qin Wenyin. What's wrong? You don't like Lu Yan? No, Lu Yan's personality isn't bad, but her two friends don't seem to welcome us. Why do we have to stay there? Fan Lu could also tell that Qin Wenyan's attitude had changed when he said that he was one of the examinees of the Emperor's Star Academy. In addition, there are people watching us. I need to cultivate and increase my strength. How can I disappoint them? Qin Wenyan's lips curled up in a cold smile, causing Fan Lu to freeze. The smile on Qin Wenyan's face gave him a sense of sharpness, as though he was about to bare his fangs. Fine, I, the number one genius of the Emperor's Star Academy, will accompany them to play. Fan Lu grinned. Qin Wenyin ignored Fan Li's boasting. He walked towards an ancient tree and sat down cross-legged. After which, he closed his eyes and started cultivating. An instant later, a humming sound echoed out from within his body, akin to the roaring of the astral sea. Fan Li's eyes narrowed. What a tyrannical cultivation art. However, it was time for him to get to work. His silhouette flickered as he dashed towards the depths of the forest. Qin Wenyin, who was immersed in the astral light, felt exceptionally tranquil. However, the fluctuations within his body were incomparably violent. The astral energy frenziedly gushed into his body, tempering his internal organs as well as his stellar meridians. The next day, before the sun had even risen, the students in this area had already awoken and were on their way. Qin Wenyin opened his eyes, only to see Fan Lu lying under a tree opposite him. In his hands, there was a bow as well as several arrows. Fatty, it's time to move out. Qin Wenyin called out. Only then did Fan Lu open his sleepy eyes, as he grinned at Qin Wenyin. How did you make this bow and arrows? Qin Wenyin curiously asked. Although Fan Li's bow and arrows were crude, it gave off a feeling of sharpness. I chopped down a few ancient trees and killed a few demonic beasts. Fan Lu casually replied. After which, he added, let's move out. Right, let's go. The two of them exchanged glances as they stood up and dashed towards the depths of the dark forest. Their speed was as fast as a hurricane, and in the blink of an eye, their silhouettes had already disappeared. A few moments later, a group of youths dashed over. The person in the lead was none other than Orphan from the Emperor's Star Academy. The rest of them were also freshmen from the various academies. "Chase, we can directly make our move after we pass this area," Orphan coldly commanded. The group of youths madly dashed in pursuit, resembling a pack of ferocious cheetahs. "Fatty, you can actually run so fast." Qin Wendian couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder when he saw Fan Lu sprinting with the speed of a wild beast. His fat body was extremely agile and nimble, and he couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. "I, your father, am a genius," Fan Lu proudly declared. Qin Wendian cast a disdainful glance at him as he continued, "There are a total of 6 people behind us. Orphan, 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. As for the other 5, one is at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm, while the other 4 are at the body refinement realm. It's going to be a little difficult. Let's grind them down a little more," Fan Le casually stated, causing Qin Wendian's eyes to flash with a brilliant light. This fatty was actually able to see through the cultivation bases of others? Could it be that he was really a genius? "There are people in front of us as well." Qin Wendian gazed at a vast area in the distance. "People from the Royal Academy. The one in the lead is Yi Zhan. I've seen him taking the entrance examination at the Royal Academy before. His cultivation base is at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm, and he even exudes killing intent. Who did you offend? Let's change directions." As Fan Lu spoke, he immediately sprinted towards the left. Qin Wendian didn't hesitate as he followed after him. The Yi clan had spent a lot of effort to kill him. They were extremely powerful in the royal capital, and if he didn't enter the Emperor's Star Academy, he would definitely die a violent death. Teacher Mustang had really given him a difficult problem. But even so what? This time around, he had gained a good brother. "Fan Lu, thank you." Qin Wendian thanked him as he sprinted. "Don't be sour, I, fatty, am extremely righteous. In the future, don't forget me, fatty, if you meet any beautiful women in the future." Fan Le grinned. The people behind were still in hot pursuit. After an hour, they had already entered the depths of the dark forest, and there were traces of demonic beasts moving about. There are still 4 people following closely behind. "Fatty, what's their cultivation base?" Qin Wendian inquired. "Orphan, there's also that person at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm, as well as 2 others at the body refinement realm. Shall we do it?" Fan Lu asked. "Yes," Qin Wendian decisively replied, abruptly halting his steps. However, Fan Lu didn't stop. He stomped on the ground and soared into the air, landing on top of a huge tree. Facing Qin Wendian, he stated, "I'll control the demonic beasts, you kill them. Let's kill the 2 at the body refinement realm first." Not knowing why, Qin Wendian had an exceptional amount of trust in that shameless fatty. Stabilizing his steps, he turned around and waited for the others to catch up. Orphan and the other 3, upon seeing that Qin Wendian had stopped, also slowed down. Their gazes were akin to that of venomous snakes as they stared at Qin Wendian, their killing intent unmasked. The 4 of them formed an arc as they advanced towards Qin Wendian. "For the sake of killing me, how much strength did the Yi clan use?" Qin Wendian asked as he stared at Orphan. "Yi clan? Many people want to kill you, and that crippled 2nd uncle of yours actually dared to rebel. Sooner or later, he will be executed. Qin Wu and Qin Chuan have already been sent to the death prison of the Black Stronghold." Orphan coldly laughed as he waved his hands. Momentarily, the 3 on his left and right simultaneously dashed towards Qin Wendian, their killing intent unconcealed. Swish! Abruptly, a terrifying sharp arrow pierced through the air from behind Qin Wendian, shooting towards Orphan with a speed as fast as lightning. Fan Li's voice drifted over. Qin Wendian immediately dashed towards the body refinement realm cultivator on the left. Swish, swish, swish. Arrows unceasingly pierced through the air, shooting towards the 3 at the same time. Only the one on the left was left for Qin Wendian. Break! Orphan's astral soul manifested, as the astral light coalesced into a long spear, emitting a howl of rage as it pierced towards the arrow in front of him. However, at this moment, the arrow trembled slightly and actually changed its trajectory, brushing past the long spear and piercing straight towards the center of Orphan's brows. How could this be? Orphan's countenance drastically changed as he hurriedly blasted out with his left palm, causing a raging wind to kick up. However, he only saw his body explosively retreating as the arrow was blocked. Despite that, the arrow still managed to pierce through Orphan's palm, causing fresh blood to flow out from it. An arrow that can change direction. Orphan wasn't the only one who suffered such a fate. The other two didn't fare too well either. One of the body refinement realm cultivators was directly pierced through the center of his brows, dying under the power of that arrow. At the moment when they were struck by the arrow, Qin Wenyan lunged towards the body refinement realm cultivator on the left, punching out with a punch akin to the roar of a true dragon. The Nine Heavens dragon roar contained boundless might, and the instant the body refinement realm cultivator punched out, he instantly regretted his decision. His strength simply couldn't be compared to Qin Wenyan. The sound of bones shattering rang out. Qin Wenyan's dragon's subduing fist was like a hot knife through butter. The body refinement realm cultivator didn't even have the time to release his astral soul before he was smashed into smithereens. In the blink of an eye, Fan Lu and Qin Wenyan had already killed 2 people. Chapter 36. Qin Wenyan turned his head, only to see Fan Lu leaping into the air, sprinting across the treetops. His movements were as agile as ever. Awesome. Qin Wenyan smiled at Fan Lu. Fan Lu steadied himself, and once again pulled the bowstring back into a full crescent shape. 3 arrows were knocked on the bowstring. Fatty, I'm a genius? Fan Lu grinned. Qin Wenyan couldn't help but admit that this shameless fatty was indeed a genius. You better not meddle in other people's business, or you'll die a horrible death. Orphan's eyes flashed with a ruthless light as he stared at Fan Lu. I'll deal with the one beside me first. Fan Lu continued grinning as though he hadn't heard Orphan's words. Qin Wenyan nodded his head as he shifted his gaze onto the youth beside Orphan, his eyes filled with coldness. As the sound of Fan Li's voice faded, the 3 arrows simultaneously broke through the air, transforming into 3 sharp swords that shot towards Orphan. At the instant the arrows broke through the air, Fan Li's palms once again pulled out another 3 arrows from the sheath on his back. His movements were incomparably skillful, and this time around, an arrow-type astral soul appeared behind his back, incomparably resplendent. In the 9 heavenly layers, there were trillions of constellations, and all of them were constellations. Fan Li's astral soul was condensed from a crescent moon-shaped astral soul. In that instant, the arrows in Fan Li's hands were imbued with astral light, as they once again pierced through the air. Qin Wenyan was already in the midst of clashing with the other person. Both of them released their astral souls. The Heavenly Hammer astral soul was incomparably resplendent, while the opponent's astral soul was in the form of an ice mountain. Purring! As the 2 of them clashed once again, Qin Wenyan only felt a surge of frigid energy penetrating into his body, wanting to freeze his astral meridians. His opponent's arms were numb from the impact. Qin Wenyan was only at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, yet his strength was so terrifying. What's going on? All of a sudden, Qin Wenyan furrowed his brows, as he sensed a terrifying demonic qi gushing in his direction. There's a group of demonic beasts. Qin Wenyan, kill them. Fan Li's countenance grew heavy. This time around, he gave up on using self-made arrows. Instead, he directly used astral energy to form arrows, piercing through the air towards Qin Wenyan's opponent, directly sealing his opponent's path of retreat. Boom! The astral energy within Qin Wenyan's body grew increasingly violent, gushing forth like tidal waves through his newly opened stellar meridians. His entire person resembled an enraged dragon, roaring as his long hair fluttered in the wind, wanting to kill everything in its path. The youth in front of him was pale. An arrow was falling towards him from the sky. He condensed 2 ice spears in his hands and thrust them towards the sky and in front of him. Die! Qin Wenyan howled, his boundless strength directly destroying the ice spears. Ignoring the pain in his fists, His terrifying strength caused the body of his opponent to stagger backwards. At the same time, an astral arrow descended from the sky, directly piercing through his head, nailing him to the ground. Orphan had personally witnessed the death of his comrade, yet he was blocked by Fan Li's rapid arrow. Although the power of Fan Li's arrows wasn't very strong, his control over them was simply too terrifying. Not only that, he was able to change the direction of his arrows, making it impossible to defend against them. At this moment, a terrifying demonic chi gushed over. Qin Wenyan turned his gaze towards the front, only to see a pack of demonic wolves madly sprinting over, transforming into a terrifying horde of demonic beasts. Run! Fan Li directly shot out 3 arrows, after which he leapt down the ancient tree, turning and fleeing. Qin Wenyan also reacted, madly sprinting away. Kill them! Behind him, Orphan let out a roar of rage. This time around he had truly lost all face. Out of the 4 of them who came to pursue Qin Wenyan, the other 3 had all died. What was even more detestable was that although he was stronger than his opponents, he didn't even have the chance to unleash his full strength. He was completely suppressed by Qin Wenyan's continuous barrage of arrows. Qin Wenyan froze as he heard the voice, glancing at Fan Li who was standing at the side. I saw a person behind the pack of demonic wolves. Maybe he's controlling the Wolf King, or maybe one of them has condensed a beast-taming type astral soul. Fan Li's face was filled with depression as he stared at Qin Wenyan. However, your astral soul is truly tyrannical. You're only at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, yet you have such tyrannical strength. Qin Wenyan speechlessly stared at him. Let's think about how to escape first. The speed of the demonic wolves in this dark forest is obviously faster than us. Not only that, with the strength of demonic beasts, they can easily tear apart ancient trees. Escaping to the top of a tree is obviously not an option. We won't be able to escape. Fatty had a bitter expression on his face. Very quickly, the pack of demonic wolves dashed past them like phantoms, circling in front of them as they continued their advance. Obviously, these demonic wolves treated them as prey and were prepared to surround them. When the front and the left and right sides were completely surrounded by demonic wolves, the demonic wolves in front finally halted their advance. Turning around, they bared their fangs at Qin Wenyan and Fan Li, their eyes filled with a terrifying baleful aura. Qin Wenyan and Fan Li halted their advance at the same time. Both of their feet rubbed against the ground as they turned around, only to see Fan Li tossing away the bow in his hands. His astral soul flickered as an astral bow appeared in his hands. Ignite, young man. As the sound of Fan Li's voice faded, it was as though his entire body was set ablaze. A terrifying aura gushed forth from him in all 4 directions, and in an instant, the demonic wolves all retreated backwards, their eyes filled with fear. The aura emanating from Fan Li's body rose at an insane rate. Brother, cover me, let's kill the Wolf King. Fan Li's gaze was akin to that of a wild beast, as he stared at the largest demonic beast in front of him. Bzz. A resplendent beam of astral light pierced through the horizon, akin to a meteor shooting towards the gigantic wolf. The gigantic wolf howled, and its terrifying claws glowed with a cold light. However, it had no way to obstruct the advance of the arrow. That resplendent astral arrow pierced straight towards its head. The gigantic wolf retreated, but the arrow was as though it had eyes of its own. It spun rapidly and there was no way to block it. An expression of fear appeared on the face of the gigantic wolf, as it raised its claws in front of its head to block the arrow. At this moment, the arrow abruptly changed direction, piercing straight into the thigh of the gigantic wolf. A piercing sound rang out as the gigantic wolf was nailed to the ground by a terrifying force. Qin Wenyan and Fan Li both lunged towards the gigantic wolf, while a few other demonic wolves dashed over, blocking Qin Wenyan and Fan Li's path. Scram! Qin Wenyan's astral soul also appeared, as an astral hammer materialized in his hands. Leaping up, he danced in the air as the astral hammer directly smashed towards one of the demonic wolves. Momentarily, the body of the demonic wolf was directly smashed into the ground, as flesh and blood splattered in all directions. Qin Wenyan's movements didn't slow down at all. The tempered hammer of 1,000 hammers danced in the air and ferociously smashed towards the demonic wolves on his left and right, opening up a path for Fan Lu. Fan Li's madly sprinted towards the gigantic wolf that was nailed to the ground, as 3 arrows in rapid succession whistled through the air. The gigantic wolf still wanted to block its head with its claws, but the arrows shot out in a straight line at such a close distance were so powerful that the claws of the demonic wolf were instantly shattered. After which, the last astral arrow pierced through the head of the gigantic wolf. Beautiful. A smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. That gigantic wolf was a 4th-level demonic beast, and its strength surpassed a 2nd-level arterial circulation realm cultivator. Yet, it was still killed by Fan Lu. At this moment, the silhouette of that fatty seemed to have grown several times taller. Woo! At this moment, the cold howl of a wolf reverberated through the forest. Behind the pack of wolves, a youth clad in beast skin appeared. His countenance was cold, and beneath his feet was a similarly gigantic demonic wolf. Beside him, Orphan was also there, and he stared at Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu with a cold smile on his face. It was as though the 2 of them were already dead. Who would have thought that amongst the new students of the Emperor Star Academy, there would be another one who possesses the power of a bloodline? Orphan stared at Fan Lu, as though he was taken aback. Fan Lu possessed the power of a bloodline. It's the power of a bloodline. Qin Wenyan silently exclaimed in his heart. He had followed Uncle Black for many years, so he naturally knew about the power of bloodlines. When cultivators condensed their astral souls, they had to depend on their perception, talent, and willpower. However, the power of a person's bloodline was more dependent on heredity. For those with powerful bloodlines, they would pass down their bloodlines to their descendants, and some would be able to awaken it, while others wouldn't. Hence, there were some who could only awaken the power of their bloodlines after a few generations, and there were even some who could not. Not only that, the power bestowed upon Wu Xiu was different as well. Wu Xiu's bloodline seemed to be able to ignite his combat prowess, allowing him to grow stronger. How unlucky, I actually killed the wrong person. Fan Lu cursed in a low voice. After which, he moved to the side of Qin Wenyan as he stated, my bloodline is the Empyrean Flame bloodline, and it has the ability to ignite one's combat prowess. I can infuse the power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline into your body, causing your blood to boil for a short period of time. Qin Wenyan nodded his head. After which, the power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline gushed forth from Fan Li's palms, transforming into a crimson palm that directly imprinted itself onto Qin Wentian's back. The power of the Empyrean Flame bloodline gushed into Qin Wentian's body. Instantly, Qin Wenyan felt his blood boiling, and his aura surged upwards as well. Rumble! However, at this very instant, Qin Wentian's body abruptly trembled as an aura that caused the hearts of those who saw it to tremble erupted forth from him. Imichem? Fan Lu seemed to have sensed something as he stared at Qin Wenyan. After which, he only saw Qin Wentian's body trembling as his countenance turned red, as though blood was about to drip out. Not only that, a primordial energy of a primordial beast manifested from his body, wanting to devour Qin Wenyan whole. What's going on? Fan Lu asked. I don't know. There's a surge of energy in my blood that's devouring the power of your bloodline. I'm unable to control it. Qin Wentian's body trembled even more violently. Fuck your grandpa, bloodline suppression? Is this even possible? The fat on Fan Li's face trembled. Qin Wenyan also had the power of a bloodline, and it might even be a bloodline of a higher grade compared to his Empyrean Flame bloodline. Fan Lu was very clear that the power of a bloodline was usually hidden within one's body. It would only be activated under special circumstances. Qin Wenyan clearly had the power of a bloodline hidden within his body, and he didn't even know that it was activated by his Empyrean Flame bloodline. Fan Lu didn't know if Qin Wentian's bloodline would be completely activated this time around. If it was successful, Qin Wenyan would be able to use the power of his bloodline freely in the future. But if it wasn't, the power of his bloodline would continue to remain hidden. Chapter 37. Orphan stared at Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu, who were surrounded by the demonic wolves. The killing intent in his eyes intensified. Wu Xiu, who had awakened his bloodline limit, was 1 in a million. But these two fellows in front of him both possessed the bloodline limit. Mui, do it, Orphan commanded as he glanced at the youth on the back of the demonic wolf king. Fine, Orphan. Remember, I've helped you guys this time around. A cold smile appeared on Muye's face, exuding a demonic aura. With a low howl, the demonic wolves all lunged towards Qin Wendian and Fan Lu. These demonic wolves were all 2nd and 3rd level demonic beasts, while the demonic wolf king he was riding was a 4th level demonic beast. How are you? Fan Li's astral bow shot out a series of arrows, and the 2nd level demonic wolves all exploded into pieces. However, the 3rd level demonic wolves were much harder to deal with. The strength of a 3rd level demonic beast was equivalent to a human at the 3rd level of the body refinement realm. Not only that, the strength of a 3rd level demonic beast would normally surpass Wu Xiu's 7th level, reaching the 8th or 9th level. I can't control it. Qin Wenyan's countenance was extremely unsightly. He had no way to control the power of this bloodline limit. How envious! Fatty grinned. Bloodlines that he couldn't control were naturally extremely powerful. Given Qin Wenyan's current cultivation level, he wouldn't be able to control them. Since you can't control it, let's burn it to our heart's content. Fatty stabbed an arrow into the head of a demonic wolf that was lunging towards Qin Wenyan. Fine. A drop of wolf blood splattered onto Qin Wenyan's face. His eyes flashed with a crazed light as he unleashed all his might. Within his body, the terrifying power of his bloodline limit roared and churned violently as his body exuded a terrifying aura. Kill! Qin Wenyan howled in rage. Momentarily, the eyes of the demonic wolves were filled with reverence. Qin Wenyan's entire body was enveloped by a blood-colored halo. He was still using the dragon-subduing fists, but when he punched out, it was as though a gigantic blood-colored dragon was roaring. The 3rd level demonic wolf in front of him instantly exploded into a rain of blood. In the blink of an eye, a demonic wolf lunged at them from behind. The agility of these demonic wolves was too high, and their numbers were too great. Even though Qin Wendian and Fan Li's combat prowess was sufficient to contend against a 4th level demonic wolf, they would still be in a disadvantageous position against such a pack of demonic wolves. Scram! Fan Li dashed to the back of Qin Wenyan as he howled in rage at the demonic wolf. For the first time, he released his 2nd astral soul. That astral soul was in the form of a demonic human face. The pupils of the human face were so piercing that they could cause the souls of those who saw it to tremble. The demonic wolf that was lunging towards Qin Wenyan directly fell to the ground. At the same time, Fan Li used his arrow as a weapon and pierced through the head of the wolf once again. At this moment, Qin Wenyan had already rushed forward. Wherever the dragon-subduing fist passed, blood and flesh splattered everywhere. However, there was still no end to the wolf pack. Brother, kill the wolf king. Fan Lu roared, blocking the path of retreat for Qin Wenyan. Boom! Qin Wenyan stomped ferociously on the ground, causing the earth to split apart. His body soared through the air as he blasted out a punch towards the incoming demonic wolf, shattering it into pieces. When his body landed on the ground, a huge momentum was generated as Qin Wenyan's entire body transformed into the shape of a bow as he dashed forward like an arrow. Awoo! The wolf king howled in rage. All the demonic wolves abandoned Fan Lu and rushed towards Qin Wenyan. Fatty, I'm going all out. Fan Li's countenance turned ruthless as he released both of his astral souls. The astral bow in his hands shone with a resplendent light as 9 arrows simultaneously pierced through the air. Puff, puff, puff sounds rang out unceasingly as the demonic wolves around Qin Wenyan were killed one after another. At this moment, both Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu went berserk. Numerous arrows transformed into a rain of arrows, unceasingly reaping the lives of their enemies. Orphan and Muye's eyes narrowed when they saw Qin Wenyan madly rushing towards them. At this moment, Qin Wenyan's blood vessels seemed to be burning, and he was in an extremely berserk state. His strength had risen to a terrifying level. Orphan, You are at the second level of arterial circulation and have 2 astral souls. Muyi spoke to Orphan. Evidently, he wanted Orphan to obstruct Qin Wenyin. Orphan's countenance turned cold as he released both of his astral souls. The long spear astral soul and the shield astral soul appeared. This time around, he wasn't going to be careless. If he had released his second astral soul during the first exchange of blows with Fan Lu, his palms wouldn't have been injured by the arrows. Of the 2 astral souls, the first focused on offense, while the second focused on defense. At this moment, the berserk Qin Wenyan was already rushing towards Orphan. Orphan howled in rage as his long spear vibrated in the air. The venomous dragon spear technique unleashed a terrifying might, akin to a black dragon roaring towards Qin Wenyan. Orphan had broken through to the second level of arterial circulation and had already opened up 2 of his arterial pathways. When he used innate techniques, the might of his attacks was extremely tyrannical. The berserk Qin Wenyan blasted out with his dragon-subduing fists. The roar of the 9 heavens was akin to the roar of the 9 heavens, using brute force to break through techniques. Terrifying explosions rang out in the air as Qin Wentian's momentum was like a hot knife cutting through butter. What a terrifying strength! Orphan's countenance sank. At this moment, the strength of Qin Wentian's attack had already surpassed the strength of 200 bulls, and was akin to the pressure of Mount Tai. Die. Orphan's spear technique was akin to a venomous dragon, piercing through the air, aiming straight for Qin Wentian's eyes. However, at this moment, Qin Wenyan stretched out his left hand, and with an abrupt clench, he actually managed to grab hold of the long spear. In an instant, blood flowed from his palms, but his right fist carried an unparalleled might as it smashed towards Orphan. Madman! Orphan's countenance drastically changed. The astral energy in his body transformed into an illusory shield, blocking in front of him as a resplendent glow circulated around it. Kaboom! The illusory shield shattered into pieces, and the terrifying force of the impact caused Orphan's body to be flung through the air. At this moment, the silhouettes of many students appeared in the distance. They were all curiously heading in this direction. The commotion caused by the battle earlier was too great, and the howls of the wolves had attracted the attention of many people. At the same time, the sound of galloping hooves could be heard, causing the ground to tremble unceasingly. However, the berserk Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu didn't have the time to care about such things. In their eyes, there was only killing intent. A large portion of the wolves had already been wiped out by Fan Li's rapid-fire arrows. Fan Lu and Qin Wenyan sprinted towards Orphan, while simultaneously shooting 3 tracking arrows at the Wolf King and Muyi. Go! Muyi rode on the back of the Wolf King, while Orphan, who was on the ground, also turned and fled. The 2 of them were truly madmen. Damn it, my astral energy is almost depleted. Fan Lu cursed in a low voice. The bow in his hands disappeared, but he still followed Qin Wenyan as they dashed forward, chasing after the lone Orphan. Orphan coughed a few times, as blood seeped out from the corners of his mouth. His countenance paled as he sprinted madly towards a slope in front of him, his eyes filled with a deep sense of fear. On the slope, several silhouettes abruptly appeared. These silhouettes were riding on draconic horses, and they were none other than the high-ranked students who were supervising the training exercise in the dark forest. Stay your hand! Orkan, who was riding on a draconic horse, roared in rage as he dashed forward, causing the pupils of Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu to narrow. Fan Lu halted his steps, as he condensed the last of his astral energy into a bow, as well as 3 arrows, which pierced through the air, aiming straight for Orphan. Impudent! A cold light flickered in Orkan's eyes. The draconic horse he was riding on transformed into a hurricane, and the long spear in his hands slashed out, causing a resplendent beam of light to flash as the 3 arrows simultaneously exploded in the air. You're courting death! The long spear in Orkan's hands shot out explosively, aiming straight for Fan Lu. Fan Li's countenance changed as he leapt backwards, stabbing the long spear into the ground, causing the earth to shatter. At the same time, the spear's tail swept out, directly striking Fan Li's head, sending him flying through the air. Fatty! Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened as he halted his steps. In front of him was Orkan, who was riding on a draconic horse. Orkan's eyes were filled with disdain as he coldly stated, "You guys are here to hunt demonic beasts, yet you guys actually dared to act against your own comrades." As the sound of his voice faded, Orkan punched out towards Qin Wenin. Qin Wentian lifted his hands to block, but the immense force of the punch wasn't something he could defend against. His body was flung across the ground as his blood and qi churned wildly. His eyes were filled with rage as he glared at Orkan, radiating an intense killing intent. This time around, how could Orkan not know that Orphan wanted to kill them? Yet now, he was still trying to twist the facts. "You guys are too impudent." A clear and cold voice drifted over. Mo Qingqing rode on a flying crane as she stared at Qin Wentian and Fan Lu with an icy gaze. Mo Qingqing naturally recognized Qin Wentian, but she didn't expect that Qin Wentian would actually try to kill a student. If that was the case, she wouldn't have bothered to save him back then. "Miss Mo, since these two are so daring, should we kill them on the spot?" Orkan asked Mo Qingqing. "I don't wish to see them killing each other. Let them go, but don't let this happen again." Mo Qingqing coldly replied. "Fine." Orkan nodded his head as he stared at Qin Wentian. "Today I'll spare your lowly life." Scram. The surge of bloodline energy within Qin Wentian's body gradually subsided. His eyes were ice cold as he glanced at Orkan and Mo Qingqing, before a cold smile appeared on his face. "Both of you are very good." The smile on Qin Wentian's face was filled with misery. He walked towards the injured Fan Lu as he asked, "Are you all right?" "Fatty's life is tough, he won't die." Fan Lu grinned. "Brother, it seems like beautiful women aren't necessarily goddesses. Let's go." Qin Wenin glared at Fatty before carrying him on his back as they walked away. Only to hear Qin Wenin cursing in a low voice, "Fatty, you are so heavy." Mo Qingqing stared at the two lonely silhouettes, feeling that something was amiss. A moment later, a beam of white light flashed past as a snowy puppy leapt in front of her. "Why you here?" Mo Qingqing smiled, only to see the snowy puppy glaring at her. After which, it ran towards Qin Wentian without even turning its head back, causing Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes to freeze. That adorable snowy puppy's eyes were filled with coldness earlier. Behind them, Luo Huan also arrived on the back of an icy eagle. She floated in the air as she stared at the two silhouettes leaving. "Mo Qingqing, you've gone too far." Mo Qingqing stared at Luo Huan, as a puzzled expression appeared on her face. "His name is Qin Wentian, a member of the Qin residence in Sky Harmony City. He doesn't even know Orphan, so why would he want to kill him? On the contrary, there are some people who have always wanted my junior brother Qin dead." Luo Huan coldly glanced at Orkan. Upon hearing her words, Mo Qingqing's body trembled as she recalled the scene of the young man leaving, as well as the cold eyes of the snowy puppy. Her heart suddenly felt an indescribable pain. "He's Qin Wentian." Mo Qingqing stared at the back of Qin Wentian, her heart filled with unbearable pain. Chapter 38. Within the dark forest, Qin Wentian carried Fan Lu on his back as he sped through the forest. Although he was extremely weak right now, he had to leave this place as soon as possible to avoid being targeted again. Currently, he and Fan Lu didn't have the strength to continue fighting. "How unlucky." Fan Lu sighed as he lay on Qin Wentian's back. "If I knew this would be so dangerous, I wouldn't have meddled in other people's business. I, Fatty, am still a virgin." "Shut your mouth." Qin Wentian cursed in a low voice. This damned Fatty really spoke too much nonsense. "Hee, how do you feel now that your bloodline limit has been suppressed?" Fan Lu continued asking, "And what's up with this little dog? Why is it following us? If you continue talking nonsense, I won't be able to hold on any longer." Qin Wentian was extremely fatigued. Earlier, both he and Fan Lu were in a berserk state, and their blood was boiling. But after activating their bloodline limit, they had exhausted too much energy and were now in a weakened state. In addition to that, the astral energy in their bodies had also been depleted. This was especially so for Fan Lu, who had already exhausted all of his energy. He was still struck by Orkan's spear. That strike caused his brain to bleed unceasingly. Luckily, Qin Wenyin was proficient in the art of acupuncture and managed to stop the bleeding. At this moment, Fan Le didn't even have an ounce of energy left in his body. Thinking of this, Fan Le continued, if there's a grudge, it should be settled overnight. But this genius is still young. I need to cultivate for another 1 or 2 years. It won't be too late to take revenge then. Qin Wendian, why is your cultivation level so low? If you were at the arterial circulation realm, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to deal with that bastard Orphan? Fan Le continued jabbering. There's a cave dwelling ahead. Qin Wendian directly ignored Fan Le's words as he advanced towards the cave dwelling. Given their current condition, if they were to encounter a demonic beast, only death awaited them. As they neared the cave dwelling, Qin Wendian placed Fan Le down as he sat on the ground, panting heavily. Fatty, let's recover some of our energy first. If not, if we encounter a demonic beast, we will be in dire straits. Qin Wendian spoke. After which, he sat down cross-legged and began his meditation. Fan Le sat down as well. At this moment, they were simply too weak. I can't be that unlucky, right? Fan Le, who had just closed his eyes, opened them only to see a demonic leopard nearing them, glaring at them. Qin Wendian's face stiffened. He stared at the demon leopard and struggled to stand up. But the demonic leopard's movements were swift and ferocious. In the blink of an eye, it pounced forward like a bolt of lightning. But at the same time, the snowy dog by Qin Wendian's side also transformed into a white blur, its speed even faster than that of the demonic leopard. Brr! A low growl sounded out from the snowy dog's mouth. In the next moment, Qin Wendian was stunned to see that the snowy dog's body had suddenly expanded to the size of a level 3 demon wolf. With unerring accuracy, the snowy dog bit down on the demon leopard's throat. In an instant, the demonic leopard's body fell. The artery on its neck had been bitten off, and it was on the verge of death. Transformation? That's possible too. Fan Le and Qin Wendian were both dumbfounded. What made them even more speechless was that the snowy dog turned around and walked to the entrance of the cave dwelling, looking at Qin Wendian with a fawning expression on its face. That expression was so despicable, and as its body gradually shrank, the despicable expression on its face became even cuter. What an astonishing speed! Qin Wendian's heart trembled. This little fellow actually pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger. Let's call him Little Rascal. Fan Le grinned. How despicable! Qin Wendian cast a disdainful glance at Fan Le. However, this name isn't bad. As he spoke, Qin Wendian grinned. The pitiful snowy dog was named Little Rascal, just like that. With Little Rascal guarding outside, Qin Wendian and Fan Le felt much more at ease in their cultivation. When night fell, the astral energy within their bodies was once again replenished. Fan Le opened his eyes, only to hear the rumbling of the astral energy within Qin Wendian's body. He couldn't help but be speechless. The commotion caused by his cultivation would never be so great. However, this fellow was truly ruthless. He had just recovered a little bit of his energy, and he had already begun to temper his body. Naturally, Fan Le was also very clear that after experiencing today's events, Qin Wendian would definitely want to raise his cultivation base as soon as possible. After all, they were still waiting for revenge. Orphan, I'm really filled with anticipation. Fan Le grinned. His wretched smile contained traces of coldness within. After which, he walked forward, dragging the carcass of the demonic leopard as he walked out of the cave, wanting to fill his stomach. When Qin Wendian opened his eyes, he saw that outside the cave, Fan Le was grabbing onto the roasted leopard meat and chewing on it in an indecent manner. His fat face was smeared with oil, and the fragrance of the meat permeated the air. You have just recovered a little bit of your energy, yet you're already acting so high profile. I'm afraid that the smell and the light from the fire would attract demonic beasts here very soon. Qin Wendian cursed in a low voice. However, Wu Xiu's recovery speed was truly tyrannical. During the day, they were exhausted due to their berserk actions, but now, they had already recovered a lot in just half a day's time. That's why we should hurry up and eat our fill before leaving. Fan Le gobbled down the meat in large mouthfuls. Qin Wenyin walked forward and started eating as well, only to see little rascal squatting beside him, looking at him with a fawning expression. "How much can you eat with that small body of yours?" Qin Wenyin fed a piece of leopard meat to Little Rascal. Little Rascal was extremely satisfied as he started eating. Ordinary demonic beasts also need to absorb the yuan qi of heaven and earth to grow. This leopard meat is extremely nutritious, Fan Lu explained as he ate. Qin Wenyin could also feel the energy contained within the leopard meat. If an ordinary person was tired, they would be able to quickly recover their energy after eating the meat of demonic beasts. For the next month, we'll have to enjoy ourselves. Fan Lu stood up and continued, "There are demonic beasts approaching, let's flee first." Qin Wenyin nodded his head as he brought Little Rascal away. After finding another place, Fan Lu ate his fill and went to sleep, while Qin Wenyin cultivated by himself with Little Rascal acting as a lookout. During the day, the three of them moved out together, hunting demonic beasts. Naturally, they couldn't avoid enjoying the delicious meat of demonic beasts. In the blink of an eye, it was already the 10th day since the students of the 7 martial academies entered the dark forest. Currently, the students had already entered the depths of the dark forest with extreme caution. At this moment, in a certain part of the forest, there was a group of people walking slowly. However, at this moment, a gust of wind swept past, causing their countenances to drastically change. An incomparably gigantic iron-armored rhinoceros was madly galloping towards them, tearing apart the ancient trees in its path. That's a peak-level 3rd-level demonic beast, the iron-armored rhinoceros. The group of people trembled, wanting to flee. However, the raging wind swept past them, and they only saw the iron-armored rhinoceros rushing past them. What was even more shocking was that behind the iron-armored rhinoceros, there were 2 silhouettes of youths madly sprinting forward. "Fatty, do it." A voice drifted over. After which, they only saw a few astral arrows arcing through the air, as though they had eyes of their own as they chased after the iron-armored rhinoceros. 9 arrows shot out in succession, and the iron-armored rhinoceros's path seemed to have been completely sealed. The iron-armored rhinoceros was forced to a halt. After which, another youth dashed towards the iron-armored rhinoceros, punching out with his fist, causing the sound of a dragon's roar to echo out. The youth's fist landed on the head of the iron-armored rhinoceros, causing the surrounding trees to tremble. After which, they saw the body of the iron-armored rhinoceros twitching violently before its gigantic body slumped to the ground with a thud. What a powerful strength! This iron-armored rhinoceros is famed for its defense, yet it was actually killed by a single punch. The hearts of the group of people trembled. After which, they saw a snowy puppy leaping onto the back of the iron-armored rhinoceros, revealing a despicable expression on its face. The 2 youths were none other than Qin Wenyin and Fan Lu. Fan Lu walked out, facing Qin Wenyin. "You freak, after breaking through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, your strength has grown even more violent." After 10 days of cultivation, Qin Wenyin had successfully stepped into the 9th level of the body refinement realm, which was also the last level. At this moment, his robes were tattered and tattered. Turning his head, he smiled at Fan Lu. "Fatty, are you jealous?" Qin Wenyin had used the violent astral energy from the heavenly hammer constellation to temper his body. In addition to the amplification from his 5th heavenly layer astral soul, how could his strength not be terrifying? "I'm jealous of you. Do you think you can control the power of your bloodline as you please?" Fan Le placed his hands on his hips, smiling evilly as he stared at Qin Wenyin. Momentarily, Qin Wenyan's countenance sank. Although his body contained the power of a high-grade bloodline, he had no way to control it as he pleased. The power of his bloodline limit was hidden within his body, and he had no way to sense it. Also, other than this subduing snake fist, don't you know any other techniques? Fan Le continued. "After I break through to the arterial circulation realm, I'll start cultivating innate techniques. To me, breaking through to the next level is more important." Qin Wenyan replied. After he condensed his 2nd astral soul, he would then choose an innate technique that was more suitable for him. Dachim, Hurry up and increase your cultivation. That day, Orkan made us lose face. Not only that, without the aid of the power of his bloodline limit, I'm afraid that even Orphan would find it hard to deal with him. Fan Le narrowed his eyes as he walked forwards. Qin Wenyan nodded his head. The reason why he was able to defeat Orphan that day was because he had borrowed the power of his bloodline limit. Now that he was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, it would be extremely difficult for him to defeat Orphan, who was at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. In another area of the dark forest, a flock of flying beasts were hovering in the air. Below them, Orphan and Mu Yi were gathered together. Other than them, there were 2 other silhouettes. Orphan, the Qin clan has been banished to the Sky Harmony City for so many years, and has long since declined. You actually want me to personally deal with a descendant at the body refinement realm? A person stared at Orphan, his eyes filled with disdain. This person was a second-year student of the Emperor's Star Academy, Hua Yun. He had already opened 4 arterial pathways, and was also a descendant of a noble clan. Within the dark forest, the members of the 9 great academies were participating in the tempering exercise. However, it was impossible for them to prevent others from entering. Hua Yun was coincidentally training in the dark forest when he bumped into Orphan. As for the other youth, he was a student from the Royal Academy, Yi Zhan of the Yi clan. His cultivation base was at the 2nd level of the arterial circulation realm. That fellow still has a companion who possesses the power of a bloodline limit. It's going to be a little troublesome to deal with. Orphan's eyes narrowed. He didn't reveal the fact that Qin Wenyan also possessed the power of a bloodline limit. He definitely wanted Qin Wenyan to die in the dark forest, so as to wash away the humiliation of being hunted down by others. Mu Yi, make your move, Orphan commanded. Mu Yi gazed at the skies, only to see the flying beasts abruptly flying away in all directions, disappearing without a trace. Chapter 39. Fan Li's cultivation base was at the 1st level of the arterial circulation realm, while Qin Wenyan was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. As long as they didn't venture too deep into the dark forest, they wouldn't encounter any danger easily. Hence, Qin Wenyan and Fan Le passed their days leisurely. Qin Wenyan, you've already started to break through to the arterial circulation realm. What kind of astral soul do you want for your 2nd astral soul? Fan Le asked Qin Wenyan as they walked through the forest. Fan Le was filled with anticipation for Qin Wenyan to condense his 2nd astral soul. Since his 1st astral soul was already condensed from an astral soul from the 3rd heavenly layer, there was no doubt that his 2nd astral soul would be condensed from the 3rd heavenly layer. The tyrannical heavenly hammer astral soul had bestowed upon Qin Wenyan. I haven't decided yet. Above the 9 astral rivers, there are countless constellations. This time around, I have to choose wisely. Qin Wenyan smiled. He was also filled with anticipation for his 2nd astral soul. You pervert! Fan Le cursed in a low voice. Many people's consciousness can't even remain in the 1st heavenly layer for too long. They can only condense an astral soul from the 3rd heavenly layer. However, although you are a pervert, there's still a gap between you and me. Fan Le replied with a straight face. Qin Wenyan was already used to Fan Li's shameless boasting. His lips curled up in a disdainful smile, as though he was intentionally angering Fan Le. There's someone fighting. The 2 of them suddenly spoke at the same time. After which, they sprinted forward with swift steps as though they were flying. Little Rascal, who was hiding in the grass, followed closely behind them. Not far away from Qin Wenyan, Lu Yen was filled with despair. She had never thought that she would encounter a 4th-level demonic beast, the green-scaled python. In front of her, the python coiled around her friend, drew a fan, and swallowed him whole. The cruelty of the scene caused her legs to go soft. Lu Yen, run! Not far away, Lu Yu roared in rage when he saw Lu Yen standing there in a daze. However, Lu Yen was only 16 years old after all. Such a scene caused her heart to crumble. Her body trembled in fear as she stared at the python, staring at her in a daze. The python stopped in front of Lu Yen, looking down at her. At this moment, Lu Yan's mind was in a complete mess, to the point that she didn't even hear the whistling sound of the wind. Evil creature. Qin Wenyan was like an arrow released from a bow as he pounced towards the head of the python. The third style of the dragon subduing fists, Nine Heavens Dragon Roar, was blasted out, and a strong gust of wind was generated. The python turned its cold eyes towards Qin Wenyan and opened its bloody mouth wide, biting towards Qin Wenyan. Bang! Like a landslide, a tyrannical force shook the python's head, causing its huge head to bounce back, while its huge tail swept across the void. Go! Qin Wenyan shouted to Lu Yan, who was below him. He grabbed the python's tail, and his entire body was flung out of the way. At the same time, the whistling sound of an arrow whistling through the air was heard, aiming straight for the eyes of the python. Only now did Lu Yan react. She turned and fled, while Qin Wenyan's body was slammed into a huge tree. His entire body was in pain, but luckily his physique was extremely strong, and he didn't suffer any serious injuries. A terrifying roar pierced the eardrums of those who heard it. The python had suffered an attack from Qin Wenyan, and had its eyes pierced by Qin Wenyan's tracking arrow. It actually turned and fled, and didn't enter a state of rage. Evidently it could still think. How painful! Qin Wenyan didn't chase after it. He glanced at Fan Lu. Fatty, not bad? Fatty grinned as he walked over. His second astral soul, the ghost mask astral soul, bestowed upon him the power of will. He was able to slightly change the direction of his arrows, and could easily see through the cultivation base of others. Although this type of astral soul couldn't directly bestow a powerful attack or defense, it was classified as a control-type astral soul, and had an extremely high potential for growth. After all, currently, Fatty could only use this power on his arrows. Not only that, he could only change the direction of his arrows at the most crucial moment. But in the future, when his will grew stronger, he would be able to directly control swords and objects. Are you all right? Qin Wenyan walked towards Lu Yan, as he stretched out his hands towards her. After the python had escaped, Lu Yan was completely drained of all her strength. She sat weakly on the ground, but when she saw the smile on the young man's face, a smile also appeared on her face. Stretching out her hands, she grasped Qin Wenyan's palm and stood up. Thank you. Lu Yan had been in despair earlier, but Qin Wenyan had pulled her back from the brink of death. Don't worry about it, just be careful in the future. Qin Wenyan smiled. Lu Yan smiled and nodded her head. But when she thought of Zhufan's death, an expression of sorrow appeared on her face. Above the forest, a black raven, attracted by the battle earlier, let out a caw, adding a sense of desolation to the atmosphere. Black raven? Fan Lu abruptly raised his head, and his eyes narrowed as he stared at the black raven circling in the air. After which, he murmured, "What a lingering spirit." Qin Wenyan's brows twitched as he raised his head. He immediately understood what had happened. He had not forgotten the lesson he had learned from the demonic wolves. Orphan's friend was able to tame demonic beasts. Lu Yan, don't tell anyone that we're acquainted. Qin Wenyan spoke to Lu Yan. After which, he exchanged a glance with Fan Lu, and the two of them turned and sprinted towards the depths of the dark forest. This scene caused Lu Yan to be stunned. She wanted to chase after them, but at the same time, a raging wind kicked up, causing the leaves on the trees to rustle. From afar, a few flying beasts swooped over, and very quickly, they flew past her head. There were actually human silhouettes on top of the flying beasts. Upon seeing this scene, Lu Yu instantly pulled Lu Yan back. Don't chase after them, they've met with a powerful opponent. Brother. Lu Yan looked at Lu Yu, only to hear him continuing. This Qin Wenyan was willing to endure the attack of the green-scaled python to save you. It seems like he likes you a little. However, these people riding on flying beasts are obviously more powerful. Remember what Qin Wenyan said earlier, we don't know him. As the sound of his voice faded, the silhouette of a young man riding on a third-level black hawk returned. This person was none other than Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan had a smile on his face as he dismounted and walked towards Lu Yan and Lu Yu. I'm Yi Zhan, a student from the Royal Academy. How about you too? My name is Lu Yu, and this is my younger sister, Lu Yen. Lu Yu carefully replied. Yi Zhan's smile was gentle, but he didn't dare to be careless. That person earlier is named Qin Wenyan, a student from the Emperor Star Academy. However, I'm afraid that he won't be able to walk out of the dark forest alive. How long have you known him? Yi Zhan casually asked. Not too long ago. Seeing the smile on Yi Zhan's face, Lu Yu didn't dare to lie. Don't be so nervous, we're only targeting him. We have no ill intentions towards you. Yi Zhan smiled. Only then did Lu Yu heave a sigh of relief, while Lu Yen started to worry about Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu were madly sprinting, but the speed of the flying beasts was too fast. The distance between them was gradually shortened. Little rascal, transform. Qin Wenyan roared. Momentarily, a white silhouette expanded in size, instantly appearing in front of Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu. The two of them directly leapt onto the silhouette, squeezing together. Sit tight, how are their cultivation bases? Qin Wenyan asked Fan Lu. 3 of them. Orphan and the beast tamer are still manageable, but the last one is extremely difficult to deal with. I can't see through his cultivation base with my spiritual sense. I'm afraid that he's at least at the 3rd level of arterial circulation. Fan Li's back was facing Qin Wenyan. His legs clamped onto Little Rascal's body as a bow appeared in his hands. In an instant, 3 arrows pierced through the air. However, the speed at which the Black Hawk dodged was too fast, causing the arrows to deviate from their original trajectories. In addition to the terrifying speed of the black silhouette, Fan Li's spiritual sense couldn't control the arrows to catch up to it. How troublesome, Fan Li stated in a depressed tone. Luckily this little rascal's speed is fast enough. If it wasn't for the 2 of us, he wouldn't even need to transform and would be able to easily shake off the pursuit of the Black Hawk. But this isn't a solution. Let's prepare for battle and kill the beast tamer. If we do that, they won't be able to control the Black Hawk anymore. Qin Wenyan suggested. Right, let's wait for an opportunity. The 2 of them started to discuss. Fan Li didn't waste his astral energy as he continued shooting arrows. They continued to advance deeper into the dark forest. Huayun was somewhat depressed. He didn't expect that it would be so tiring to chase after the 2 of them. Not only that, the white dog was running all over the place. Right now, he didn't even know where they were. There was a possibility that powerful demonic beasts would appear at any moment. In front of them, the forest was no longer there. Instead, it was a vast open space. Ahead of them, there seemed to be a misty mountain valley. It's the fantasy city. Huayun's eyes narrowed as he stared at the misty mountain valley. They had actually arrived at the boundary of the fantasy city within the dark forest. Qin Wenyan and the rest also halted. Ahead of them, within the misty mountain valley, a city could be seen flickering in and out of existence, appearing illusory and illusory. They seemed to be extremely fearful of this place. Fatty narrowed his eyes as he stared at the 3 pursuers. This time around, Qin Wenyan wouldn't be able to escape even if he grew wings. The 2 of them dismounted from Little Rascal's back. Little Rascal's body shrank back to its original size. Qin Wenyan and Fan Lu exchanged a glance. Their minds were connected, and after which, Fan Lu instantly drew his bow. 9 astral arrows pierced through the air, whistling through the air as they shot towards Mu Yi. Little Rascal! Qin Wenyan roared. Little Rascal directly leapt into Qin Wenyan's hands, and after which, Qin Wenyan abruptly flung Little Rascal towards Mu Yi. Mu Yi's countenance stiffened when he saw the 9 arrows shooting towards him. The space in front of him had been sealed. Gathering his strength, Mu Yi abruptly slammed his palms against the incoming arrows, using brute force to break them apart. At the same instant, a snowy puppy appeared in front of him. Its body abruptly expanded in size as it swiped its sharp claws at Mu Yi's head. Mu Yi's countenance drastically changed as he controlled the Black Hawk to fly upwards. However, Little Rascal's sharp claws directly slammed into the Black Hawk's head, causing it to plummet downwards. Mu Yi also lost his balance as he plummeted downwards. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. It was too fast. Earlier, the 9 arrows were merely used to control Mu Yi, causing him to fall into a dire situation. At the boundary of the mist, Fatty's arrow was aimed straight at him as he grinned. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.